Coach Drew and Baylor complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter? He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
And their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Friday. It's finally Friday.
Finally.
I'm Drake Toll alongside J.D. PicKell. We got Armstrong Sims back in studio today and Andrew Robertson. Armstrong graduated college yesterday.
There you go, Army.
Congratulations, Armstrong graduating college, and he's
Never
back with us today. Armstrong's Minute will be Armstrong's again. He's taken back over. Congratulations. That's how we start the show today. And second, we're talking tangible goals for Nicki Collen in year one at Baylor. What does she have to do to win and win now? Because I'll tell you, I've been looking at ESPN's projections for next season, and they think Baylor women's basketball and men's basketball should both be Elite Eight caliber teams, and the women's basketball team should be Final Four caliber. We're going to talk about that. We got men's and women's tennis this weekend. The women's tennis team plays today in round one of the NCAA tournament against A&M Corpus Christi. The men's team plays tomorrow in round one against A&M Corpus Christi. And outside of that, baseball and softball, both a big series this weekend. Baseball dealing with COVID issues. On a scale of 1 to good, that's not.
Not at all. Not at all. With some crucial series down the pipe. We got Kansas State and Oklahoma State coming to town.
State,
some swing series,
trying to get some dubs in there.
Some big ones.
Are we going to elaborate on the COVID issues?
So, there are very, I don't want to say it's lock and key because it's been reported there's COVID issues in the program, and Tyler Thomas is not starting on the mound. Their ace, Tyler Thomas, is not starting on the mound today for Baylor baseball. So one can only infer with COVID issues going through the team and Tyler Thomas not starting, maybe, hopefully it is COVID-related and that he doesn't have it, but he's contact tracing and that he is not hurt. Because if Tyler Thomas is hurt, we're gonna be in trouble.
That's bad news. If Tyler Thomas is hurt, we're all hurt.
This is impacting my likelihood to go to the game today, knowing that the whole team has COVID.
No,
I mean, for my first game, do I really want to rip the Band-Aid off like this? You know?
Yeah, do you want to just jump in and explore the water like that? I don't know. But it is a big series.
I do want to see the ace, though.
It's a big series.
You go to see the show.
You go to see the show. Thomas. Outside of that today, it's very beachy vibes. Hey. I like the baby blue you got going on, rocking and rolling with a little Brian Bell joins the show later. Yeah. Former Sam Houston State legend, brother of Sean Bell. I got some seaside beach vibes. It feels good. It's Friday. The weather's warm outside. Armstrong's back in town, and we're rocking and rolling today. Let's open up the phone lines at 254-339-1122. Call us or text us with your thoughts. We're asking the question today, what does Nicki Collen have to do tangibly, what are goals that she's got to set and complete on the court next season to be able to sustain wins and sustain a long-term career at Baylor University? Because she said she wants to retire here.
The fact that ESPN said that the women's basketball team should be a Final Four caliber program this upcoming season with a first-year head coach, does that surprise you at all? Because for me, I'm thinking, okay, Final Four is probably what I would assume the majority of optimistic Baylor fans have as their expectation. Elite Eight seems like that's the threshold of, okay, you kept this thing on track. But Final Four for ESPN to be their prediction, I'm thinking, okay, so there's some real deal expectations around this program with the amount of talent they have coming back. So, I mean, does that surprise you at all, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, for those that are viewing on Twitter, hop over to YouTube, and you can check out Uptempo on SicEm365's YouTube and watch it more sustainably. Watching on YouTube sucks. Or watching on YouTube doesn't suck. Watching on Twitter sucks. So you don't have to do that to yourself. You don't have to do it to yourself. For me, I don't think so. This came out, let me see the date on this. Last time they dated it. 4/27. So April 27th, meaning Nicki Collen was not here. And my understanding, Kim Mulkey was still the head coach at that time.
Yeah.
Or if not, it was really, really, really close to that announcement being made. They have Baylor at a 1 seed playing Morgan State in round 1, then the winner of DePaul and Duke. They also have Tennessee on Baylor. This is a bracket, a preseason way too early bracket announcement.
They have a whole bracket out.
Yeah, Maryland is on Baylor's side. Wow. You've got Kentucky. Maryland's going to be really good next year. Kentucky's also right there as well. So they've got Baylor as a 1 seed, though. Baylor, UConn, South Carolina, and Stanford as their 4 1 seeds next season. So, hey, I think if ESPN has Baylor's talent level, this is factoring out the head coach,
right?
But Baylor's talent level, and they also have Baylor winning a conference championship.
Yeah.
You factor both of all the athletes in, and then make it happen. Speak it into existence. I don't see why they shouldn't.
I think it has to be a Big 12 title. I think it has to be Elite Eight. Those two things feel like non-negotiables to me because of how much talent you have coming back. Like Nicki Collen could just sit back and let this thing run itself, and they should be an Elite Eight program. Like that is the bare minimum of what we're expecting. 17-1 a season ago with virtually the same players coming back. They should win the Big 12, and they should be an Elite Eight team.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my expectations. Those are my expectations for them. Anything below that, I'm like, gosh, this is kind of a failed season.
This is a Final Four team. The roster that's coming back, the possibility of more transfers, and the probability of being able to go out and get more transfers, there is no reason this team under Nicki Collen shouldn't make a Final Four next season. I do. I think it's Final Four or bust, barring a major injury, because Nicki Collen can also recruit Moon Urson back. That's going to be a really tough swing to get Bill Brock and Moon Urson to come back and play for the team next year, but there's not a reason there shouldn't be a Final Four team in Waco next season with Lady Bear basketball written across its chest.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that they have every opportunity to do that. I think to be a Final Four program, we're going to see just how much Nicki Collen brings to the table, because Elite Eight feels like, okay, that's the expectation, that's the standard. Final Four, you probably have to have some coaching kick in there to be able to get them over the hump, because they were a foul away a year ago with a Kim Mulkey coach team. So to me, I think that's where we see, okay, how much is Nicki Collen worth? Is Nicki Collen worth that extra win that puts you into the Final Four, that puts you in the championship game? So we'll learn a lot about Nicki Collen in the postseason, but they can win the Big 12 on talent alone. In terms of expectations, they need to win the Big 12, and they need to be in the Elite Eight.
I think it's a roster thing, too. I don't know if it's the fact that Kim Mulkey got a game away. I wouldn't give it even to Kim Mulkey. I would give it to the fact that the roster got a game away. Yes, Kim Mulkey gets credit for that, but also look at the roster you have coming back next season. You've got a Final Four caliber team, and if you don't get there, if you don't get to that point in year one under Nicki Collen, I mean, she's going to have all summer, no COVID excuse, to implement her system, to be able to put things together, and has a great roster to start with. I think questions can be raised about year 2 and year 3, where she goes, but right here, right now, year 1, I have expectations set tangibly. Expectations set at 28 to 30 wins, preferably 30.
Sure.
And a Final Four berth. If not a national championship, it's a national championship caliber team. I will be surprised if they're not up there vying for it in the last weekend of March.
It's interesting. We're going to see how much COVID impacts in this upcoming season. I think the vaccination is sort of giving us all a sense of security that won't be as much of an impact. That won't be a huge piece when it comes to these games. But I think the worst thing that could happen is that she has to coach her way out of a corner with, God forbid, one of her key players getting COVID. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but I think you're right. This summer will be crucial for her in the portal with the free agency. It'll be crucial for her re-recruiting these players back to Baylor. So there's a lot of things that I think need to go her way, which I think they will. I think we'd be surprised if some of these things went the other way with players transferring out or COVID being a factor this upcoming season. But all things considered, I'm with you tangibly. I don't know if I'm ready to make the jump to Final Four. I think they're capable. I think that's like the ceiling, obviously, is National Championship Final Four. I don't know if obviously you can't go any higher than the National Championship, but I think that's like realistic. For me, the expectation is, okay, Elite Eight is what I'm sticking to. And if it's anything under Elite Eight, then I'm disappointed.
Gotta be. I think you gotta be. Elite Eight next season is the floor to me. Unless there's a major injury, Baylor women's basketball should go to the Elite Eight with next season's roster. Outside of that, football expectations. Same deal, but on the football side. Because there's a lot of talk going. Jeff Grimes is not the head coach. He doesn't have the pressure of head coach on him, but it feels like the offense, and it is, the offense is under new management with Jeff Grimes. Now the same thing for football. Where do you set your expectations? You got a women's basketball roster coming back. From what you've seen from football, where do you set those expectations?
It all depends on the quarterback, right? It depends on how much can this quarterback do.
Does it all depend on the quarterback?
It all depends on the quarterback.
Does it all depend on the quarterback? It doesn't all depend on the quarterback.
I think it all depends on the quarterback. I think a lot of it does.
Stop.
I think a lot of it does.
A lot, but all of it depends on the quarterback.
All of it in terms of their record. I think there's probably 2-ish wins that you're going to see. I think Baylor, with the performance we saw last year on offense, they'll be a 5 or 6 win team. I think they can win 8 games if they have the guy at quarterback.
What's the buffer zone? What's your margin of error? So is it 4 games? I mean, how many games can one quarterback win or lose you compared to the others?
Well, I'm thinking about it in the sense that the quarterback is the one that makes this car go on offense. And so if you have someone who's indecisive like we saw a year ago and not able to, I guess, process completely. And again, it wasn't all his fault. It wasn't all on Charlie Brewer, to mention the name. It wasn't all on him. A lot of it was the scheme. But if you get a guy back there who is turning the ball over, who is gun shy, if they have to switch quarterbacks during the season, then I'm a little bit concerned if you don't have your guy by Kansas. I think that they will win the first 4 games, obviously up until Kansas, where they go to Lawrence. And then, BYU is going to be kind of a question mark for us. Texas is going to be obviously Texas is a big question mark.
Huge.
At TCU. There's a lot of games here where I'm saying, dude, these could go either way. I think they'll be in a lot of games, but I think 8 wins is the ceiling.
I think
5 wins might be the floor.
People forget that Baylor we finished, 2-7? Right?
2-7.
Now, as a diehard fan who watched every game from kickoff to the knee at the end of the game, we were in a lot of games. We lost a lot of games by 1 score. I think I saw a statistic before OU. Our margin of error was our point differential was 35 points over all 5 of our losses. So that's a touchdown, a loss, basically. I also wanted to bring up Charlie Brewer won 11 games. I don't think Charlie Brewer is that good.
Yeah.
So I think the defense with 10 returning starters is a huge factor. And I think that on offense with Jeff Grimes, I'm a little bit concerned because he had Zach Wilson at BYU.
Sure.
So we need to see, is Zach Wilson the guy, or is Jeff Grimes the guy who made Zach Wilson good?
Yeah, he did develop Zach Wilson, to his credit. Zach Wilson wasn't even a topic for NFL draft scouts until this season. And then we saw him light it up, and BYU kind of have a magical year in a lot of ways. But I'm with you. I think a lot of it does depend on what this offense can do. This defense is going to be lights out, going to keep them in a lot of games. People forget, too, the 2019 season, it was the same situation the 2020 season in a lot of games, in the sense that Iowa State was a score, Texas Tech was a score, and they just went the other way. So what for you is I want to flip this question a little bit. What is the floor for Baylor this season?
I think the floor, without a doubt, is 4 wins.
You think so?
I think the floor is 4 wins. There is no way that you should not win at least 1 Big 12 game, Kansas, and then at least 2 of your non-conference games, Texas State and who's the other?
Texas Southern, right?
Texas, is it State and Southern?
I think State. So. Here, let's see. I'll pull it up here. We got Texas State to start it out. Texas Southern at home. Got to go to San Marcos the first game though. Ruckus crowd.
San Marcos.
If we lose at Texas
transfer
State,
portal OU.
I'm done with the season.
San Marcos is not. San Marcos is rowdy, but Baylor should win.
A prestigious school.
Give me, I legitimately think if Baylor does not win 4 games next season, then you're having a serious conversation with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Because Texas State's a win. That's an automatic win. You've got it should be an automatic win that you beat Texas Southern. Past that, Kansas, you should win. That's 3 wins. 3 wins at least. Then I'm expecting either BYU or another one of those Big 12 games. If you go 1-8 in the Big 12, that's a problem. If Kansas is your only Big 12 win, so 4 is the floor. There's no way that Baylor loses more than 4 or what am I trying to say?
Are you factoring in the schedule as well? This is the most favorable schedule that Baylor could have drawn. We have OU at home, Iowa State at home, Texas at home. Like
Oklahoma at home.
Oklahoma, yeah. Like that. Those are the 3 teams you want at home. Like, I mean, usually. I mean, obviously Iowa State's going to be great. We have them at home. Who's the team that I'm worried about? OSU. OSU's always good that we have to go away. Stillwater's a tough place to win. So
Manhattan's a tough place to win. Going to Kansas.
Yep.
I would say 4 being the floor in wins. You've got to win at least 4 games.
If they only win one Big 12 game, that will be a step back from a year ago. Because if you think about it, 2-7 looks horrible. Still won 2 Big 12 games.
Yeah, it'd be 5-7 if you play 3 bad non-conference teams.
Yeah, the non-conference slate is just not. I mean, you got BYU, but you should beat BYU when you steal their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, they know the scheme.
Right, exactly.
Big question mark. We're going to find out a lot about BYU. It's a good club.
It won't be bad, but come on. It's Jeff Grimes. We got G-Dub on the phone lines. What's going on, G-Dub? Happy Friday.
What's up, guys? Happy Friday.
How you doing, boss?
Good. Hey, yeah, for the women's basketball expectations, the standard doesn't change. I think Mulkey kind of implemented that. She implemented the Final Four or bust or whatever. But yeah, the women's expectations don't change. And Coach Collen even said expectations don't change. We're gonna work hard. We're still gonna play defense. We're still gonna dive on the floor for loose balls. So those expectations don't change, in my mind.
How many regular season losses do you need to see for you to be concerned? Because they went 17 as a total, they were 17-1 last year, so they had 1 loss to Iowa State. I mean, what's the concern level for you if they lose a game or 2 in the regular season?
Concern level for losses would probably be 3, maybe.
Sure. I mean, I might even go. If I see 2, I'm like, shoot, what's going on here?
No, because you gotta understand it. Preseason, they always do they play UConn again? Do they play UConn again this season?
Not sure yet. We haven't gotten very much schedule news when it comes to the women's basketball side.
Okay. So, but usually they play UConn. Usually they'll play UConn, and usually they'll play South Carolina or Stanford. So those 2 are usually toss-up games for me. So then for football, yeah, I think because like y'all said, to start off the year, that's 3 wins. That's a cakewalk, no matter who the quarterback is. But when they get into conference, like y'all said, get into conference play, you got Kansas, that's a dub. I say Kansas State's a dub. Texas Tech's a dub because you have Texas Tech comes to Waco.
Yeah. All should be dubs. All should be dubs.
And then I still don't trust Sarkisian.
Yeah. Got a shot to beat Texas this year.
So Sarkisian's a toss-up. And y'all forget the Oklahoma game. Even when we played them in Norman, they had only 10 points at halftime, and they had their lowest rushing total that they've had under Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, Baylor played them really well in Norman last year.
So, I'm not saying that's an absolute win, but they could surprise them in Waco.
Yeah. G-Dub, here's what you got. Any questions for us? I know you usually bring the heat.
Okay, so if y'all, I know it's been a couple weeks, but if y'all had to pick y'all starting 5 offensive linemen from what y'all saw at the spring game, who'd y'all go with?
Oh wow, I don't even know if I can name all 5. I'm gonna go Galvin, one of the tackles. I'll go Newman at, let's say, either left or right guard, doesn't matter. We'll go Miller at center. Gosh, the other guard. I'm forgetting someone for
Tate
sure.
Tate
Williams, maybe so.
You want Grant Miller. Grant Miller obviously is going to be starting up there. Newman, I like.
Give me Khalil Keith at one of the guards. I know the freshman, I think it's McCoos, I might say his name wrong. He's a big guy. I think he's probably still a year away. Khalil Keith, too much experience. One of the other guards, I don't know. Casey Phillips, maybe? Toss it. Last tackle, I don't know.
They played him at tackle, though.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. One of the other tackles. I want what I say, Newman and Keith at the guards, and maybe Phillips at one of the tackles.
Lock it in. Miller up front.
Miller up front.
Yep. Hey, GW, you got a Bear Games question for him today?
I was going to ask him what the Starbucks order.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
What is your Starbucks order?
We've been seeing that trending lately.
Bear Games question. GW, what's your Starbucks order?
Double chocolate chip frappuccino.
Okay.
Double.
Don't forget the double.
Double it.
I like it.
G-Dub, thanks for your call.
Yes, sir.
See, G-Dub. Like to remind you, first hour of SicEm365's Up Tempo is brought to you by Banson Business Services, owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 premium member Jonathan Green. Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. Banson specializes in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can even help you with your taxes. Their business helps you run your business. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson for more information. Banson, the Electric City.
They call it Banson. What?
The Electric City. B-A-N-C-I-N. They'll help you
run your business. And also do your taxes and make friends and grow more hair and meet a nice woman.
And outsource CFO services. Yeah. Up next, we got some baseball, some softball still to talk about. I want to know these expectations that you've got for football as of right now and women's basketball as of right now. Where do you set those? On top of that, I got a little, there was a game last night in high school softball, a game this week in high school softball that we're going to go over. We're going to watch. We don't have any highlights from it. We're going to take a look at the box score, and I want to get your thoughts on this one.
Yeah.
When we come back from this break, it's more baseball, it's more softball. We got tennis this weekend, football, women's basketball, all of it. I'm Drake Toll. That's JD. Can we do it when he's?
Yeah, probably.
That's JD PicKell. And don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
There's a new head coach in Waco, and it's Michael Woodson. Baylor announced yesterday that Woodson would be promoted from interim coach of the men's tennis team to head coach after leading this year's team to a 29-4 record and the #1 ranking in the nation. Woodson is in his 5th season overall with the program after serving as an assistant for his first 4 years. He's a Valparaiso graduate who played tennis at the university and served as an assistant for the school prior to coming to Baylor. On the women's tennis side, the Lady Bears are in action today as they start postseason play against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in Waco. Match starts at 5 p.m. with the winner moving on to play in round 2 of the NCAA tournament in Waco Saturday, while the losing team goes home. And the men's team also begins postseason play this weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 2 p.m. at the Hurd Tennis Center. 2 other Baylor programs are also in action in Waco as the softball and baseball teams try to stay high. Baseball starts a series with Kansas State at Baylor Ballpark tonight at 6:30 without Tyler Thomas. And the softball team treks to Austin for Game 1 of its weekend series against Texas at 6:30. And the team returns to Getterman Stadium for the final 2 games of the series at 3 p.m. Saturday and 1 p.m. Sunday. Nicki Collen will throw out Saturday's first pitch. In national news, even after an NCAA tournament berth, the Hartford Hawks will move to Division III after a vote by the university's Board of Regents. The school will transition in 2025. And Texas linebacker Jake Ellinger, brother of newly drafted Colt Sam Ellinger, was found dead yesterday off campus in Austin. According to police, there was no suspicious evidence involved. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on the new 2021 Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $5,500 or 0% for 84 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, Central Texas new Ram commercial truck headquarters with 3,500 and 5,500 chassis cabs and other great work trucks. Visit Allen Samuels today. It's Ram Truck Month.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside J.D. PicKell, Armstrong Sims, and Andrew Robertson today. Happy Friday, everybody. May 7th. Busy week in Baylor sports. This time 5 days ago, Baylor didn't have a women's basketball coach. Now Nicki Collen is in town. Today, baseball kicks off a series with Kansas State. Softball kicks off a series with Texas in Austin. And then tennis. The men's and women's tennis teams both compete in the NCAA tournament. Big weekend in Baylor sports.
Big weekend. Tennis? I hardly know her.
Nope.
You know,
it's not what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
We're all on board. Man, this baseball race is tight here in the Big 12. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Baylor are all about a game or two outside of second or third place, but it's tight, man. It's come down to the wire. I think Oklahoma State next weekend in Waco, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oklahoma State nationally ranked number 20 as it sits right now. So it's a lot of good time to be at the Baylor ballpark.
Yeah, and Baylor's been playing really, really good baseball in Big 12 play, especially against great competition. You're looking at TCU's got sole possession of first place in the Big 12 by a lot. Texas Tech is in third, Texas in second. So it's TCU, Texas, Texas Tech, Baylor. How about the Texas schools showing out?
Just all rolling with it. And
jeez,
we remember Baylor took Texas Tech to the woodshed, gave them a whooping.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Took them out back and said, hey, here's how we do it down here in Waco. And what did Tyler say when he was on the show? He was like, yeah, we beat the crap out of them, and we knew we were going to beat the crap out of them. Twice. So I'm excited for Baylor coming down the stretch here. They got a chance to end the season in a really strong fashion and make a statement to a lot of folks.
So they got 7-8, Baylor 7-8, right behind Texas Tech, who's 10-8 right now. Behind them, behind Baylor, Oklahoma State 8-10. So it's a tight race right there. Baylor fourth in the Big 12. Possibility of moving up. They have a tiebreaker over Texas Tech. Could move into third with a sweep over Kansas State, pending what Texas Tech does this weekend. So it's a toss-up right now. It's a toss-up on where Baylor will land in Big 12 play, but I can tell you this. If they sweep Kansas State this weekend, they should be nationally ranked come Monday, and it would be huge. Not just for RPI, not just being nationally ranked, but also for their possibility of jumping Texas Tech, being a top 3 team in the Big 12, and hosting.
I was going to say, where are they in that Omaha conversation?
I don't think they're in the Omaha conversation.
Is Kansas State good? Can they hold a candle comparatively to Baylor?
It's baseball, so anybody can really do anything.
True.
They have only one. They're 6-9 in Big 12 play. Baylor's 7-8, so there's not a lot of separation in Big 12 play. They're a pretty solid team. Baylor's better. Baylor should win the series this weekend, but you've got the opportunity to sweep. It would be pretty tough.
We are the radio show that broke that Baylor baseball is suffering with COVID. So kind of gotta factor that in, right?
I don't know if we broke it.
We didn't break it?
We didn't break that.
We probably heard it.
We broke it first in my eyes.
Probably bruised it.
So, yeah, as far as what the COVID situation is going to look like this weekend, Steve Rodriguez told media that COVID is going to be an issue with the team over the course of the weekend. So it depends on who they're missing, what the team's going to look like this weekend. I'd still, if you're in Waco or have the opportunity, go out tonight. At what time's tonight?
6:30.
6:30 in Waco. Go out tomorrow at like 3, and then Saturday at like 1 or noon or something, and go watch baseball this weekend. It's in Waco. There are like only a handful of these series left. On top of that, you got softball team in Austin tonight. Baylor softball. Texas was just swept by Oklahoma State, so Baylor softball moved to third in the standings in the Big 12 right now.
Let's go.
They're in a really good spot moving toward the postseason.
Let's go. They have any more home games?
They got 2 this weekend. So what's going to happen is the way they do it with Texas every year is they play one game of the series at the opponent's ballpark. So this year, opening game of the series is going to be in UT at Austin. Then on Saturday, tomorrow and Sunday, Baylor will come back home and play Texas at home for both of those matches.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
So you've got Baylor has either a 1-game lead or they're tied. I haven't checked here in a little bit, but they're in third place ahead of Texas right now in the Big 12 standings. So if they win the series against Texas this weekend, they'll finish top 3 in the Big 12 heading into the postseason tournament.
And where will they sit in that? Do we have a gauge on how they're going to look in the postseason in terms of seeding and all that? Because I am very much unfamiliar with that world.
Okay, I stand corrected. Baylor's 8-6. Texas is 9-6.
Okay.
I guess maybe Texas snuck another one in under my nose. I don't know. Last I checked, Baylor taking third place. But yeah, it's going to be Oklahoma State. They got a huge series this weekend in softball. Outside of that, Texas and Baylor are fighting for that third spot. As far as postseason play goes as a whole, it looks like Baylor right now is likely a 2 seed. They've got a good shot at being a 2 seed somewhere in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if it's for sure going to happen, but I don't think it'd be a big surprise for Baylor to be a 2 seed in whichever region they go. But there's not really a big difference between being a 2 and a 3 seed.
Okay.
Because the 2 seed, they play the 3 seed, and the 3 seed plays the 2 seed. So really, what kind of advantage do you get there,
Interesting. Is Baylor primed to make a run, you think, in this postseason deal?
We'll see. It's going to depend. They got a lot. They are a senior-laden team. They got 5 or 6 seniors in there that contribute. And if they all show up and get hot at the right time, Gia Rodoni, starting pitcher, if she gets hot at the right time, then it's over. I mean, Baylor's got a legit shot to go make another World Series run. I think last year was the perfect concoction of young, energetic talent mixed with great senior experience. This season, they've been fighting COVID. They've been fighting injuries. Been fighting a lot of different challenges. So it's going to be tough for the softball team to make a run, but they got a lot of good pieces.
know what the secret sauce is, right? They have this year, didn't have last year. But the best PA announcer in the whole darn country.
They do have a new.
When they come to Waco, they say, "Hey, you might have some big bets. We got a big PA announcer. Buckle up." Drizzy Drake Toll on the call.
They did get swept by Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I mean, probably by less than they did a year ago.
No.
No?
It was a mercy rule.
Well, maybe.
It's also so demoralizing that there's a mercy rule. Like, can you imagine getting mercy ruled in the second inning?
Dude,
like,
imagine if football had a mercy rule.
Oh, okay.
Finish the game.
Yeah, finish the game.
No,
players to win the game.
In the MLB, I've seen games 16-1.
If they had a mercy rule in MLB,
no one would watch because
that would be
stupid.
Embarrassing.
Yeah,
it would not.
Finish.
I love the mercy
rule.
rule.
Pride.
What?
No, absolutely not.
I love the mercy rule.
You like the mercy rule so you can go home early.
I'd rather lose 40-1. I'd rather lose 40-0 than get mercy rule.
Yes, absolutely. Dude.
A mercy rule puts you out of your misery.
No.
You don't have to suffer any longer.
Okay, you go home after
It's
the game.
implying that you have suffering.
You go home from
It's
Waco.
demoralizing.
You get back to campus.
I'd rather go.
Yeah.
Keep going.
They
Sorry.
say, "Hey, what was the score?" You say, "We got mercy rule."
Yeah.
They go,
Yes.
They go,
Yeah.
"Oh, freak."
Yeah.
Wow. No. Because in my mind,
we lost 40-0. Hey man, get them next time. We got mercy ruled. Oh.
In my mind,
so
mercy
sorry.
rule.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking
No,
about.
you say we lost 10-2. Oh, well, that stinks. Maybe next time. You don't say we got
10-2
mercy
in
rules.
the
You don't
sixth?
openly. Yeah.
That
You got something to hide. You say
Yeah,
we got
10-2.
mercy rule.
We got 10-2, but it was so bad they called it early.
Yeah, mercy rule needs to be.
Mercy
They're like,
rule's
bro,
fine.
we can't let this game continue.
Imagine if that was a stat
This
in
is
football.
so bad.
Yeah, in football, they get to the second half, you're up by 4 touchdowns. Like, you know what? We're just gonna call it, guys. No one can make a run. You can score 8 runs.
Yeah.
in
It's
softball.
different on the diamond. Yeah, it's different on the diamond.
Get on a rally.
Trevor Lawrence, #1 pick coming out of this year's draft. Tell you what, he looks good in the pocket, good mobility, big arm. Did get mercy ruled a time or two, though, in his time with the orange and white there down Clemson.
It's happened before. Therefore, why not give them the opportunity to do it?
Yeah.
What? Have a mercy rule in football?
No. It's happened. That kind of rally, that kind of comeback,
It
it
can
has
happen.
happened. It can happen. So
Baylor's done
why
it.
stop it?
Georgia
Exactly.
Tech ran it
So
up
why stop it?
222-0.
Cumberland State.
Cumberland needed a mercy rule.
No.
And they said, no, we're going to finish this
Yeah.
thing.
We're going to finish
That's
this
called
game. We
grit. That's
finished
called
what we
pride.
started.
There's no mercy rule in football. That's
There's
fine.
more pride in losing 222-0.
Absolutely.
And playing the game out.
No.
Than just calling
Just
it quits.
end it.
I would
Let
rather say-
everyone
No,
go
you-
home.
I would rather tell my mom we got a mercy rule than lost 222-0.
No, I would rather be
can't
we
flip-flop on
finished
this.
this game.
No.
We started it,
Well, when it's
we
triple
finished
The
digits.
it.
Cumberland
It's hard.
players didn't even play for Cumberland. I don't know if you guys, the historical context on that game is something
But they can
else.
take.
Yeah, that's a bad
But they
sample
took
size.
the
That's a bad
hit.
sample
They can
size.
take that
Oh,
game
they took
and
the
tell their
hit.
grandchildren.
One of their players
they
died.
finished that game.
Did a player die?
Players died all the time back
Look,
then.
look,
in
look.
football.
Teddy Roosevelt got us right.
Teddy Roosevelt died in football too.
Teddy Roosevelt? No, he didn't.
That was Franklin. That's right. That's
Teddy
why he was in a
Roosevelt
wheelchair.
switched
He
it
was in a
up.
wheelchair because of football accident.
Teddy Roosevelt
I don't think
died
Teddy
on-
Roosevelt
died
was
on a
Franklin
horse.
Roosevelt.
Pretty sure Teddy Roosevelt died on
No,
a
that
I
was
always see
Franklin
him on a
Roosevelt.
horse. There's a lot of
It
Roosevelts.
was not.
No, Teddy Roosevelt didn't die from football. Teddy Roosevelt is the reason we still have football.
I think he died on a
There you
horse.
go.
I'm telling
Teddy
you.
Roosevelt was going to be president, and he died on football.
He was doing
He
football.
wasn't president?
He overdosed on football.
He OD'd. He had too
Teddy
much
Roosevelt.
football.
Definitely president.
Mercy rule's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All
Mercy
right?
was not
No,
fun.
you-
no.
no.
Mercy was horrible.
Do we
Baseball has a mercy rule sometimes.
Baseball does not have. Does Baylor
College
baseball?
Yeah.
has
I
mercy
have been
rule?
to. I have been to baseball. It's usually in a midweek when you're playing anybody that's out of conference. Any non-conference game typically has a 7-inning mercy rule for 10 runs.
This seems like it's unequal. I feel like baseball and softball should have the same mercy rule.
In
Well,
soccer,
they don't
the
play the
mercy
same
rule would be
innings.
like 2 goals. Be a lot quicker soccer games.
Yeah, first one to score.
First one to score.
Golden
Goal.
and then we're done.
Well, that was fun.
And we're done.
Good deal. I would
Hey,
love mercy rule in soccer.
Steven wants to talk about the mercy rule.
Steven does want to talk
Let's
about
just do
the mercy rule.
PKs instead of mercy rule.
Yeah, you know what?
Well, wait, let's just not play soccer. Let's just go PKs and I think.
Whoever can kick the ball the
hey, would you
furthest
make
wins.
comments with your own personal YouTube account and not the
No, this is
Baylor
what-
Bears?
This is what I'm logged in.
SicEm365 YouTube
The official
account?
YouTube account. I said
They are
that
backing
Drake is
us.
wrong.
I can't be roasted by the own SicEm365 YouTube account. I just think mercy rules are fine. Sometimes you need mercy on the diamond. Steven gets
No.
it. Steven, welcome
No,
on to Uptempo.
he's not gonna get it.
Steven,
Steven's
you
gonna agree
get
with
that the
us.
diamond's a different playing field and you need mercy.
Drake, please don't speak for me.
Thank you.
I've lost 33-2, where I scored the only 2 runs.
There you go, Steve.
I've lost 37-1, where I scored the only run. We play the whole
Yes.
game. And look, man, I didn't go around telling people how that went, but I scored 3 runs in those games. So I'm going to be honest with you.
it's not fun to play, and it's definitely miserable. But, like, that made me want it more. And, I mean, in football, you know, if JD's a quarterback and he's just getting killed back there, he's not much he can do. But, you know, if the pitcher's striking out everybody else, you know, I leaned in one and took one on the shoulder. So I stole second and third and then scored on a wild pitch. We came home and scored a run. This is how you do it. You play the whole thing. Give me no mercy.
Yes. No mercy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank
Merciless
you.
Steve.
That's 4 of your
I love it. I love this. The subtle mention of my boy got 3 runs.
3 runs.
In the
He did get 3 runs in mercy rule game.
In 69 to 3
there was
games.
no mercy rule.
What do they say?
Mercy rule.
Baseball is
give
an
me no
individual
mercy.
sport. Baseball's an individual sport. I will never. It's not a team game. Come on, because Steven got runs out of that. Steven feels good about the mercy rule because he has a stat in the book.
It builds grit. It builds character.
Look, my stats weren't great. It wasn't like I struck out on wild pitches and then stole a bunch of bases, but, you know, we scored some runs, man. And, like, yeah, you go home and you don't tell anybody about that. And, you know, I walked off the field and I was like, y'all suck. That's just kind of how I felt. I was like, y'all suck. We just got beat. And I didn't want to talk to any of my teammates for a period of time after that. It's like, did we really just lose like that? You know, standing there watching people making errors in the outfield. It's not fun, man.
Give them mercy.
But I'm sure we all
have mercy.
Take no mercy on me. You know, when I came up in the bottom of the ninth, I was going to try and, you know, score 34 runs. But, you know, I could only score one. So.
Yeah,
and
you did.
He did.
He started the rally.
Steven did it. He scored a run. Steven, what's your Starbucks order? That's our question today.
I'm not a big coffee person, but I do like the double chocolatey chip frappuccino.
Oh my, that's
2 for 2
double
right now.
chocolatey chip. Wow. Of all the things, that's what's gotten us. That's what's landed us home 2 for 2. Wow. Steven, thanks for your call and joining on the Mercy Rule conversation.
Later, guys.
Later, Steven.
So, not to go down a rabbit hole, but the reason why I'm asking this question is someone at Starbucks named Edward ordered a venti caramel crunch frappuccino, 5 bananas, extra caramel drizzle, extra whipped cream, extra ice, extra cinnamon on top, and then there's like 7 other ingredients. I won't even bore you with all of them, but like the label is about this big on the cup. So
good?
that's the reason why I was like, I wonder what our listeners get.
Was it good?
Is Edward? I'm sure it was phenomenal. It looks delicious.
Drink?
I'm sure it was amazing.
I mean, it sounds like there's no coffee. It's just all toppings.
Yeah, I think it's just a milkshake. But I thought that was interesting, and I wanted to see, hey, do we have any Edward listening out there? And so far, we don't.
No, we have 2 double chocolatey chip frappuccinos, which, fun fact, I used to get after every dentist appointment because it was cold.
Interesting.
Yeah, the more you know.
That'll get you juiced up.
Okay, I've got this. Armstrong in the Twitter chat. There is a box score from yesterday's Alabama High School Athletics Association updates. Posted this box score. We're going to talk about mercy and where mercy should have been given and what mercy can do for a person in their life. This is a softball game against Lanier.
Why would we give mercy?
Why would you? This is so stupid.
This is a one-run game.
This is the dumbest argument you're ever going to make on this show.
46-45.
And we're going to show it for the viewers because they can see how stupid you are.
Is a game between that was sarcasm. I was just trying to find a way for it to be
the segue.
Lanier and Park Crossing Thunderbirds. This is a varsity softball game in Alabama.
Wow.
Where the final score of the game was 46 runs to 45 runs.
On 20 total hits.
There were only 20 hits in this game.
Look at this. Through 2 innings.
Yeah.
It was 18-5. Should we have mercy ruled? According to you, yes.
According to you, that game's
According to you,
over.
that game is done. And then they come in the 4th inning and score 12 runs.
Yeah.
Through 3 innings.
But Drake Toll would have had this game over after 2 innings.
Drake Toll would have been home in bed before this game was over.
This is the worst box score I have ever seen in my life. This box score sucks.
There's 14 errors. There's 14 errors.
14 combined. One girl, M. Jordan,
14
the third baseman for Lanier, walked 7 times.
Wow.
She walked.
Michael Jordan was playing in this game.
7 times.
And just got walked 7 times.
M. Jordan,
hits?
the third baseman.
Wait, is that 5 hits?
Lanier had 5 hits.
5 hits, 45 runs.
45 runs.
They need to reevaluate
6
the field.
errors. They had more errors than hits and scored 45 runs.
45 runs off 5 hits.
Fire both coaching staffs. Get them out of here.
I hope you had the over.
Get them out of here. Death penalty to both programs.
This is a 91 run.
And then have them think about it, come back, field a new team next year.
It is a 91-run game. So
why is Michael Jordan in this game?
One of the things
Jordan's at third base.
Yeah, he walked 7 times.
This is a Monday. In case you got a case of the Mondays, imagine being the umpire.
That looks good for those stats.
Imagine being the umpire. You had the worst
You know
night.
what's even better?
What is even better?
2 at-bats.
No.
4 runs.
What's even better is that
7 walks.
Lanier never changed pitchers the whole game.
They made her suffer. 23 walks.
She gave up 46. Her ERA next game is like 1,000.
Do you know what's worse than that? You know what's worse than that?
She had 23 walks, 4 strikeouts.
Park Crossing starts Caitlin Kirk. Caitlin Kirk goes 4 2/3 innings. And at that point, they're like, all right, Carly Meeks, you're coming into pitch because Caitlin has allowed 19 runs and walked 26 players.
Oh, my gosh.
Carly's in the game for 1 2/3 innings, and they go back to Caitlin.
Oh, my God, you're right.
Can they do that?
Go back. You can go back to another pitcher. Earlier in the game, she allowed 19 runs and walked 26 players. So they bring in a replacement for her, like, hey, you take a breather, but only for 1 2/3 innings, and then they force her to go back out there.
Dude, this is garbage. What do you think that mound visit was like? Hey, how you feeling out there? Well, they scored 18 runs, so not that good, coach. Okay, we'll bring in Meeks. Meeks.
Yeah,
and then she's getting shelved, and they say, hey, you want to come back? She's like, no, I was getting freaking rocked out there. I don't want to go back.
65 combined walks compared to 11 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Did they have no outfielders?
Okay.
Did they just say no outfield? Everybody just play infield and just...
They had
Jay Young's
an automatic 65
ERA
base runners.
for the game was 48.3.
How close were these fences?
48.3 ERA for one
Jay
game.
Young, yeah.
And she pitched a complete game. Wait a second. No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
She pitched 6 1/3.
She only picked 6 1/3, yeah.
Wait,
I know exactly where that third came from. I know exactly where it came from. She threw a strikeout and the ball got away from the catcher. Oh, God, no. She threw... Oh, no.
Can we watch this game? Is that possible?
Oh, no. Jay Young threw 245 pitches.
I love
83 of which were strikes. 83 were strikes.
That's 83.
Holy
that's
cow.
83 more strikes than we all threw yesterday.
Oh.
Hey, K. Kirk, ERA of 54.
Wow.
No way.
I just can't get over the fact that M. Jordan's at third base.
What about Meeks? Meeks was in for 1 2/3 innings and allowed 13 runs.
That's bad.
The math on
I
that's
got
gonna be
do
bad.
this.
Yeah.
This box score sucks.
Look how many hit by pitches there are. 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 12.
ERA is
Has this gone
13,
viral?
15?
70.2 ERA.
Oh, God.
How are not people? How is Barstool not got a hold of
That's
that?
rough.
16 hit batters.
They might. I mean, like
This has been on
national Barstool.
There are 16 hit batters for one team. How do you peg? And the umpires 16 you can't throw the pitcher out of the game.
How?
Like you're targeting people at that point if you're hitting 16 people.
I would pay so much money to watch this game live.
One girl got 4 stolen bases.
They scored more points. Both teams did. I think more than Baylor football scored all of last season.
Yeah, probably.
And that's not a knock on Baylor football. That's hats off to this program. Both Park Crossing and the Thunderbirds. I can't even read this. I don't even know who is playing, but both teams should get just disbanded.
From an umpire's standpoint, all right? For top of the first, it's 4 runs. Like, gosh, this is going to be a long game. Bottom of the first, 11 runs. This is not good. We're through 1 inning. Here's where things clean up, though. Now it's in the second. Yeah, there's an 8. Oh, you want to know what's crazy?
Yes.
Hey, listen to this. There's an 8-run mercy rule in softball. So Park Crossing, multiple times in this game, came up down by more than 8, having to fend off Lanier. And rather than just fending them off, they scored 10 runs.
Oh, my gosh.
So you're an umpire. You get out of the third inning, right? And you're like, oh, sweet. The team's only scored 4 combined right there. Like, I'm home free. Then Lanier, at this point, the score is 20-7, right?
Okay.
And you're like, all right, that's fine. Lanier puts up a 12 spot. So now it's 20-19. What a rally. What an inning for them.
I mean, Drake, you're arguing against the mercy rule right now.
Then it's 22-19, right? And you're like, all right.
Thank you.
Then it's 30-22. At this point, there's a mercy rule in effect. If Park Crossing doesn't score, they put up a 10 spot.
Was there ever a 0? Like,
Talk about rally caps.
Then Lanier puts up 11. And at that point, there's a mercy rule in effect again. Put up a 10 spot. Lanier comes up, scores 7. Park Crossing's down by 3 in the last inning. What do you say if you're the coach? Bottom of the 7th.
The coach is probably just hammered at this point. Yeah. Both coaches are just going shot for shot.
They have no jobs.
Yeah, 45 shots.
Your job's gone.
Shots.
These coaches are both belligerent right now.
It's a bottom of the 7th. We're down 45 to 42. We got to go out there. We got to put up 4 right here.
Wait, they only played 7 innings, right?
They played 7 innings.
Oh my gosh,
I know what happened. So they got 1 run. Jay Young got 1 run in the bottom of the 7th, and before they could get a second run, there were 4 runs across for Park Crossing, who is by far the better team. Park Crossing is going to the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah.
With those ERAs?
Yeah.
Not very long.
That's not daunting. Well, imagine if they win a state title. This girl threw 245 pitches. She didn't come out.
Hell of an arm.
She threw 245 pitches.
Terminator.
83 strikes.
245.
You can do that in softball, though, right? You just freaking keep wheeling and dealing underhand, right?
It's like my arm would
you
still
just
get
go.
tired.
There's no Tommy John in softball.
Oh my God. K Meeks hit 7 batters alone. Just
Heck
her
yeah,
alone.
okay.
She hit Oh God. Jay Young hit 16 batters. One pitcher hit 16 players with a softball in the box.
How is there not a fight?
She faced 74 batters.
Again, I'd love to see this game.
I would love to see this game, too. I want to have the coach on.
Can we get
She
this
faced
game?
That was
74
craziness.
batters. That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
I love our comments are just also not at all interested in what we're talking about.
No, but
which kind of hurts my feelings.
But I'm very interested.
I am enthralled right now.
Yeah.
Wow. Kay Kirk, when she came back in, she faced 59 batters. Kay Meeks, in an inning and 2/3, faced 22.
Dude, this is a made-up box score.
This is a matrix.
I feel like someone just went on their keyboard and just started hitting numbers.
Game got postponed, but they couldn't postpone because the league would have had to disband. So they said, all right, let's put together a game for the books.
Yeah.
Had to have been there to see it. Nobody else was around. But they said, hey, you see that box score? Yeah, they're talking about an up-tempo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly
we
a big
just
game.
saved the
They're
Alabama
the real
league.
winners.
Advertising, yeah. I mean, we're talking about it.
Holy cow.
Jay Young put up 23 walks. She only walked 23 in 6 1/3. Hats off to her.
Semi-impressive.
Player of the game? Player of the game. She struck out 4, too. The fact that she struck out 4 players.
And walked 25.
Whoever hit 16 batters, that's my player of the game.
Also the fact that
caller.
this girl, 0 at-bats, 7 runs, 5 walks,
She's
1
just-
RBI.
she's just a pinch hitter?
Her on-base
1 RBI.
percentage is so
no,
high.
she's the starting third baseman for Park Crossing. She had 0 at-bats.
This M. Jordan?
7 runs.
How'd she have 7 runs?
So the walks don't count as at-bats.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Or hit by pitches. She got hit by 2 pitches and walked 5 times. That was her stat line.
Oh, my gosh.
She did not even have a chance to touch the softball 1 time. You're fired. Everyone's fired. The umpires are fired.
Yeah.
The administration's fired.
These
the
kids
principal.
are expelled.
Oh, 100%.
These kids should never be allowed to play softball.
There's not one collegiate player. There's no way a single one of these girls plays college softball anywhere.
Just hand grenade to the
With
school.
these ERAs?
Listen, this
Not
girl
the actual-
moved
not with people
positions.
inside, just like the school,
The school
itself should be
itself.
disbanded.
Right.
Kay Kirk, the leadoff hitter for Park Crossing, changed positions 4 times in the game.
Versatile. That's what I hear.
This is
4
dark.
times.
This whole thing is dark.
She was the second baseman, pitcher, right fielder, and left fielder for the game.
Yeah, this is a 30 for 30.
This is absolutely a 30 for 30.
Or a
I would
45
watch
46.
this.
So that's today's viral thing that Drake found on Twitter that
I love
he
it.
just was bonkers.
Dude, I'll clap at it for that.
Yeah.
I'll clap at it for freaking no defense.
That's my kind of game. No defense.
No
Most
one
of
on
these
Park.
runs.
It lasted over 5 hours. Naturally. I mean, it had to. And it has gone semi-viral on Twitter. It will only continue to go more viral. One can imagine.
It must have just been batting practice. They're just teeing off.
I want to know what time they started the game, too.
Holy cow.
An 8 p.m. start.
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
It had to be, I mean.
That would be tough.
Just as an umpire, you only get paid like, what, $40 for this? And you're there for 5 hours. This was like a 5-hour game.
That's gross. Absolutely disgusting.
But do you do it to say that you did it? Do you do it to say you were there?
I mean, you don't walk off.
Do you think they played music in the background? Do you think they're like in the at some point, like were there parents that stayed the whole game?
They should have.
Yeah.
I don't think you leave.
I'm
that
just glad
game.
the game went the
How do
full
you leave
7
it?
innings.
One time-
and there was
Yeah,
no
I think mercy rules
I'll
is
tell
the
you,
real deal.
one time in high school, I was doing music for a baseball game and went 21 innings.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's dark.
Did you just like
Just
run
no
out of
one
music?
scored in extras?
No, I was just pulling music out of the woodworks and people were standing up singing along like Sweet Caroline, you know.
Oh, so you're playing vibes.
I was I had to keep the people into it, you know, because it
14th
was
inning.
getting like midnight.
No way.
That's a great
this was one of
question.
my best high school memories, honestly. So I'm just
Holy
DJing,
cow.
the crowd's rocking, and I'm like, I got to keep these people.
How big were
Sounds
the
like 8
crowds?
miles.
Huh?
Sounds like 8 miles.
Sounds like 8 Mile.
How big were the crowds?
I have no idea.
A couple hundred?
Yeah.
Couple hundred.
Couple hundo? Oh,
Not huge.
Highland Park.
Highland Park,
Right?
yeah.
Highland Park baseball. That's a good, pretty good baseball team.
Pretty good baseball team, yeah.
Really? Who are they playing?
I don't remember. Possibly Jesuit.
Wow. We got a big one going on.
That's a big
going
rivalry.
down.
Tell you
Yeah,
what,
got a big
dude.
one going down.
Screw
21
Jesuit.
who won?
Highland Park.
Highland
in this
Park
thing.
won.
Highland Park won.
It was
Huge.
legendary.
Did that place go nuts?
Oh, it went so nuts.
The walk-off, too, because it was at home.
Yeah.
Was it a
Wow.
walk-off home run?
Was there ever a moment?
No, but it was like a walk-off. I think it was like on an error, honestly.
Was there ever a moment where the opposing team went up in the top half of the inning?
Yeah.
No.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they went up and then they had to match them. It was an intense game.
That's spectacular.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
We're going to do the 2-minute drill today.
Rock 'em.
We've got 2 minutes and a bunch of drills. Did you bring your drill?
2 minutes, all the drill.
My drill.
Yeah, do you have a drill?
2 minutes. This is not a
on
drill.
me.
Oh, we're not going to do the Papa Shot contest, too, because I completely forgot. We didn't have time. We got
Yeah.
Brian Bell joins us at
We rock and
12:05.
roll.
I'm so excited to have Brian Bell on the show, by the way. Brian Bell is the winningest all-time quarterback in Sam Houston State history and went to 2 national championships. He would probably not like to tell you the results of those,
Yeah.
but he went.
We won't
He
ask
went.
him. We won't ask him.
I didn't go.
I bet you he's anti-mercy rule.
Anti-mercy rule.
anti-mercy
I bet
rule.
you most
Games
people
question.
are.
That's a good beer games question.
That is a good question. Also, I want to know, what song do you play when you get the aux at an event?
What kind of event? That's very dependent.
Yeah, very dependent. Like a sports event?
Let's say a party. Let's say you're at a party and someone says, Armstrong, iPod Shuffle, but you get to pick the song. What are you playing?
It's not hard. Don't say Celebration by Kool and the Gang. Don't say Celebration by Kool and the Gang.
I have no idea.
You got to play a hit. Dreams and Nightmares, Meek Mill.
Whoa.
People
Did you play
I'll pull up
Celebration?
some CCR.
Yeah. Another Saturday night. I would play Bottoms Up.
Bottoms Up.
It's a great song.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I don't even know.
You got one, A-Rob?
I have the song I want to play in my head. I just don't know what it's called. So I'll workshop that and get back to you. Yeah.
I'm loving it. Loving it. 2 minute drill. What do y'all say?
Let's go. 2-minute drill. Give
Wheel
the
and deal?
music.
Give me some music.
Call him Tom Brady because it's all about the 2 minute drill. Oh, man. Coming in hot. Feeling hot,
We
hot,
have
hot.
the music.
Love it.
Feeling
Hot. All right. First question, 2 minute drill.
So good.
Got to get a first down to stop the clock for college rules. This is a tough one. What does 21 personnel mean
Oh, I know this.
in the game of football? This is tough.
I know.
Are we? Is someone timing?
Nope.
I think we're just wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
We're just rolling.
Clock stops after a first down.
I just glanced at the clock. We're good.
All set?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the old overtime rules of college football, meaning that they just changed. So this rule just now changed. So college football as you know it, as of last season, after what overtime did teams have to start going for 2 after a score?
After, like, in which overtime?
So in which overtime, which
Okay.
number of overtime do you need to start going for 2 points?
This was last season, or they changed it for this season?
They changed it for this season, but previously.
Okay.
At what overtime? Previously?
Previously, yes. So this is another tough question, excuse me. How many defensive backs does a 4-3 defense have?
Safeties don't count as DBs, do they? I don't know enough about football.
I don't know.
That I don't know.
I made this around NFL Combine time.
These are good questions.
I appreciate it. Who holds the record for the fastest 40-yard dash time at the Combine? Hint, it was recently broken. As in, this record was recently set.
Like,
Wow.
How recently? I'm going to go with
We got to roll quick.
Okay. You can be the ref. What happens when the defensive team is tackled in their own end zone on an extra point attempt in the fashion of a safety, not a touchback? So block the field goal. You pick it up. You try to lose ground to go score. You get tackled in your own end zone. What happens?
Oh, wow.
This is kind of impossible. It's sort of a fun fact. It happened one time in a national championship a couple years ago.
All right.
Locked and loaded? Where is the College Football Hall of Fame located?
Oh, wow.
Bonus, who sponsors it? If
No.
If you get that bonus, whatever. Like, you can have it. All right, bro.
We're rolling.
Half of these I put no clue.
How tall is the shortest player to ever participate in a college football game?
Shortest?
Shortest. So you don't need to tell me who it was, but how tall was this person?
Yeah.
Locked and loaded?
Yep.
Alrighty. First one. What does 21 personnel in the game of football mean?
All right.
What does that speak to?
I think I know. I think it's 2 tight ends, 1 running back.
Okay.
No clue.
No clue?
It's got 3 running backs.
It's going to be 2, so it goes running backs to tight end. So 2 running backs and 1 tight end.
Oh, wow.
That's a tough one. In the old overtime rules of football, what number overtime do you start going for 2?
3. Third overtime.
Third overtime. Everyone got that. It's now switched to the second overtime.
Yep.
Wow.
So this upcoming season, kind of crazy. How many DBs does a 4-3 defense have? Again, another tough one.
It'll be 4.
Before?
I also said 4.
4. Everyone's right.
Okay.
So the first one is the first number is the defensive line, seconds to the linebackers.
Yeah.
Leaves 4 left. Who holds the record for the fastest 40 at the NFL Combine?
DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. He was fast.
He was fast. I don't know if he held the record.
He was fast.
No clue.
This is kind of a tricky one because he wasn't very good in the NFL, I don't think. Not yet.
I didn't have an answer for this.
John Ross from Washington.
He plays in Arizona.
Is he in John Ross? Okay, is he in Arizona? He was with Cincinnati. There's a 4-2-2. Anyone get the what you do if you get tackled in your own end zone after an extra point?
Is it 1 point?
1 point.
1 point?
1 point.
1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Everybody's right.
Wow,
Yeah, 1
there
point.
you go.
Yes.
That was a tough one.
That
Good
was
job,
tough.
y'all. Dang. Where's the Hall of Fame located for college football?
Canton, but not Ohio.
I also said
Canton, Ohio.
I said no clue.
It's in Atlanta.
Ah.
It's in Atlanta.
And then I said Reese's.
Sponsor. Knowing that, anybody want to guess who the sponsor is?
Home Depot.
Where
Good guess.
is it again?
Lowe's.
Atlanta. Good guess.
Allstate.
Chick-fil-A.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
That's a good.
That's pretty
It's kind of fun one.
Not Reese's.
Shortest player to ever participate in a college football game.
5'3".
5'3".
I put 5'3" as well.
I put
5'3".
5'1".
Andrew's the closest, 4'9".
No.
Jason Carter got a carry against UTEP.
Congratulations, Jason.
Is there footage of this?
There is footage of this.
I need to see
There's
this
footage of
Find
this
it.
from Rice.
I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. PicKell, Armstrong, Sims, Andrew Robertson. We come back. Sam Houston State legend comes on the show, Brian Bell, and talks to us about their playoff game that takes place this weekend. Don't go anywhere. We're talking some college football in the FCS. Coming up after this, this is Up Tempo.
There's a new head coach in Waco, and it's Michael Woodson. Baylor announced yesterday that Woodson would be promoted from interim coach of the men's tennis team to head coach after leading this year's team to a 29-4 record and the #1 ranking in the nation. Woodson is in his 5th season overall with the program after serving as an assistant for his first 4 years. He's a Valparaiso graduate who played tennis at the university and served as an assistant for the school prior to coming to Baylor. On the women's tennis side, the Lady Bears are in action today as they start postseason play against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in Waco. Match starts at 5 p.m. with the winner moving on to play in round 2 of the NCAA tournament in Waco Saturday, while the losing team goes home. And the men's team also begins postseason play this weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 2 p.m. at the Hurd Tennis Center. 2 other Baylor programs are also in action in Waco as the softball and baseball teams try to stay high. Baseball starts the series with Kansas State at Baylor Ballpark tonight at 6:30 without Tyler Thomas. And the softball team treks to Austin for Game 1 of its weekend series against Texas at 6:30. And the team returns to Getterman Stadium for the final 2 games of the series at 3 p.m. Saturday and 1 p.m. Sunday. Nicki Collen will throw out Saturday's first pitch. In national news, even after an NCAA tournament berth, the Hartford Hawks will move to Division III after a vote by the university's Board of Regents. The school will transition in 2025. And Texas linebacker Jake Ellinger, brother of newly drafted Colt Sam Ellinger, was found dead yesterday off campus in Austin. According to police, there was no suspicious evidence involved. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's Tasty Oak Smoked Barbecue.
Next in line.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
And welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den Blonde Boys Power Hour. Going a little long today. Happy Friday, everybody. It's a big weekend across Baylor athletics, but in college athletics in general. The FCS said, listen, we don't want to play football in the fall. There's too many ifs, ands, and buts.
No.
Let's do this baby in the spring when we can do it right. There's a vaccine out and everybody can play. That's what they're doing. I tell you what, now Sam Houston State's in the national semifinal. They got a shot at winning a natty.
Big ol' one against James Madison, who I think they were the one that bounced North Dakota State, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a good one, man. I'm excited. A team from Texas, too. It'll only be right. So, college football playoffs, Texas.
I start scrolling through my contacts, and I'm thinking, I've got to know, like, some former James Madison quarterback. Turns out I don't. But you and I are so familiar with a former Sam Houston State quarterback who's the winningest quarterback in program history, went to 2 national championships almost a decade ago. I'm aging him. And now he's the head coach at China Spring, a little high school football program pretty close to us. Brian Bell joins the show today. Coach Bell, thanks for coming on with us.
Uh-oh.
Oh, can he hear us?
I think he's upset.
Can he hear us at all?
That you said that about
Has
him.
he been able to? Oh, he's got us now.
got you.
Coach,
okay.
I'm going to go right back through that. I dated you because winningest quarterback in Sam Houston State history. It's been almost a decade now since 2 national championships for you. I was telling JD, I was scrolling through my phone yesterday I thought I knew somebody that used to play for James Madison, but no, it was you, and you used to play for Sam Houston State. Coach, congratulations on the boys making it to the semifinals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great day to be a Bearcat. Really excited for those guys. Coach Keeler's doing a great job. North Dakota State's been a big roadblock for us in the past decade. Like you kind of mentioned, I think they've beaten us probably 4 times. And so for them to get over that big bump is huge. And then we've got some beef with James Madison after about 5 or 6 years ago, too. I think they beat us in the quarters of the semis. And so it's going to be a fun game this Saturday.
I spoke at a turn. It was y'all that bounced North Dakota State, not James Madison. As a fan, because, being someone from you went to Sam Houston. How are you feeling as a fan? Just take away the alma mater piece. How are you feeling as a fan for this game?
Oh, absolutely. It's a blast. About 3 or 4 weeks ago in a conference game, we got to have like kind of a reunion of some lettermen that played probably 7 or 8 years ago. And so it was a lot of fun getting everybody back together and get to sit in the stands and watch these guys thrive. Their quarterback, Eric Schmidt's doing a wonderful job, and their offense is making big time plays and defense is flying around. So it's fun to watch them.
Coach, when it comes to you got your own season to worry about in high school football. So typically in the fall, you got your brother at Baylor, quarterbacks coach. I know your dad's at most of both of those games, whether it be Baylor or China Spring, but you got a lot going on. It's got to be tough to watch Sam Houston football. Is it a breath of fresh air getting to see these guys in the spring?
Oh, 100%. We all kind of talked about that. A lot of the alumni, or I guess the guys that I played with at Sam Houston, we're all coaches. And so it's not even possible for us to get a weekend to align where we can all meet up and do something like we did the other day, probably about a month ago. So it's extremely special to watch them in the springtime. It's been really a breath of fresh air to watch these guys thrive.
For a lot of people that are less privy to what Sam Houston State likes to do, give us the crash course on what we can expect from this team in this crucial semifinal game.
Well, unlike what we used to do when I was playing quarterback, is they like to throw it around now. We were a heavy run team back when I was playing. Our running back was Tim Flanders. He was up for the Walter Payton Award, which is like the Heisman for that division. But Eric Schmidt, he throws it around. They spread the ball to all sorts of receivers. I think last game 7 or 8 guys touched the ball offensively. He can also run with it. And then defensively, their defensive line is stacked. Linebackers can fly around, and they play a lot of man coverage in the back end. So it's an exciting game of football, and their special teams has been extremely consistent too. So they've had some hiccups last game. I think they gave up a punt return and a kick return for a touchdown, but special teams have been playing well.
Coach, you got to play in not just 1 but 2 national championships. Take me back to your first one, that first tournament you're going through, the whole playoff system in the FCS, and what that was like to vie for a title as a starting quarterback, and not even a senior starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think something that was big that year, and I think that's big again for Sam Houston right now, is they're getting to play at home, and that's the benefit of the FCS playoff. Is if you get the higher seed, you're playing at your own crib, and so it's a huge advantage, I think, and they deserve it. They went undefeated in the regular season, and so for them to all the way to get to this point to play playoff games at home has been huge. But yeah, same thing this year. They're getting after it, and it's been fun to get kind of watch them get after it.
Coach, Drake touched on this a little bit, but it is awesome to have football in the spring at the FCS level. A lot of people are talking about making this a permanent switch. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think FCS level, I would like for them to kind of stay in the fall. I wish I could watch them more in the fall, but a lot of their income, I think athletic department income, comes from them playing Texas A&M or Baylor or stuff like that. It's kind of where we would get a big part of our budget at that level. But now Division II, NAIA, Division III, I'd love for them to kind of stay in the spring. That way, a lot of fans could get some more football love in the spring and kind of keep seeing the football. I guess you can only have spring football at like 7-on-7 at the high school level. There's nothing really going on, but for those smaller divisions, I think there'd be some big pluses.
Coach, trips to title games. What a lot of folks might not know about you is that you were on roster in 2007 under your dad when China Spring went to a state championship football game. Walk us through the juxtaposition of a state title game in high school and a title game in college.
Well, that state title game in 2007 was a lot easier. All I did was hold on PATs. I didn't play much quarterback back then. I was just basically on the roster, like you said. Dustin Eskew for China Spring, when a big-time player, all-state player, was behind the helm or running the show back then. But, it's kind of very similar. I think there was 4 to 5 playoff games to get to the national championship, and in high school there were 6. So there was kind of a lot of similarities there, kind of going from the high school to the FCS level with the playoff thing. You don't have the home field advantage in high school like you do in college, but there's a lot of similarities, and I think that pays off. Colleges like to recruit guys that win a lot of games, especially at the quarterback position. And I was blessed to be a part of China Spring that we did win a lot of games and we were successful, and hopefully that carried over to college.
Now, speaking of trips to title games, if Sam Houston State takes care of business, are you going to this game? Going to the Natty?
I hope so. If I can get the kitchen pass, if the old lady will let me get a weekend off from some wedding plans, which she wouldn't care at all. But if they win this week, there'd be a strong possibility that a lot of my teammates and myself would try to be at that game.
Heck yeah!
Is that still Frisco? Are they doing it in Frisco again this year?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Come on! It's right there. You've got to go to the game.
Absolutely.
Coach, you get North Dakota State in the national championship in the first title game that you played in. Coming back that next season to do it all over again, did it feel like deja vu getting to compete on the biggest stage in the FCS 2 straight years?
No question. I think offensively, we had changed offensive coordinators from that first national championship to the second one. We came in with a lot of confidence. Even though we were undefeated going into the first one, we kind of were the underdogs in that second national championship. We were unranked, kind of ran the table a little bit, and made some big upsets in the playoffs that second time around. And we really felt like we were going to go in there and win that game. And we played them pretty tough midway through the third quarter, and some things just didn't go our way, and they ran away with it. But I think just going into that second year, we really had a lot of confidence. So it was kind of an upset, I guess it was kind of upsetting to not to be able to pull it out that second year. But they're a good football team, and they're a good football program, and we left it out there. I wish I wouldn't have thrown some of those interceptions. Like I said, we didn't throw the ball very much, and that's probably my fault. But we ran the ball pretty well, and we just didn't finish as well as we wanted to.
Hey, receivers run the wrong route all the time, and
that's as much as I wish I could agree with you and do that. That was on me.
The team guy. Coach, I'd be an idiot if I didn't ask you about your brother. Is he pumped to be coaching his former position right now for Baylor?
100%. I think it's a huge blessing that he was able to switch to the quarterback position, and Coach Grimes and Coach Aranda have been so good to him, and he's literally living the dream, quote unquote. I mean, being a Baylor, big, huge Baylor alum. I mean, I say this all the time, nobody loves Baylor more than Sean Bell. He's obsessed with the university and not just football, but everything that comes with it. And being at the quarterback position where he's really comfortable, he's having a lot of fun this spring, and hopefully those guys can keep playing good football at the quarterback position and keep that quarterback battle going strong into the fall camp and get after it this fall.
Coach, you talk about, it's his dream job, obviously, for Sean to be at Baylor, to work at Baylor. You said it. Nobody loves Baylor more than Sean Bell. For you to be at China Spring as an alumni, now the head football coach coming off of a double-digit win season this last year, an unbelievable run to the state playoffs. Is this it for you? Are you just as happy as you can be in your position?
100%. Extremely blessed. Not very often do coaching families get to live very close proximity. My parents are blessed as well. I live like 10 minutes away from them. Sean lives 10 seconds away from them. I think he lives like 200 yards away from their house. And our family's very thankful for the position that we're in, and we try not to take it for granted. We try to have family dinners every Monday night if we can, and get the whole gang together, and I get to see the little nephews and the niece run around, and they're playing t-ball, and I get to go to all those games, and so do my parents. And so for Sean to be at Baylor, and for myself to be at China Spring, and my parents to live right here close, is a huge blessing, and we're very, very grateful for it.
Now, as a former quarterback, I'm not sure you've heard, there's a little bit of a quarterback battle going on for Baylor right now. I'm not going to ask you to pick a horse because obviously your brother being, the coach, I'm not going to ask you that. Yeah. But what goes through the psyche of a quarterback? Because I would imagine that is such a grind on you mentally to have the spotlight on you in a town like Waco and have that be the conversation 24/7. How much does that wear on a kid?
I don't know, because not to say I was so good that I wasn't ever in a quarterback battle or anything, but all I know is that those guys that are in the quarterback room at Baylor are some dogs, and mentally and physically. And I know whoever comes up or who comes out on top, they're going to be seasoned. They're going to be ready to lead the Baylor Bears. And I really think it could be any of those guys. And like I said, I don't know enough about it to pick one, but I know they're all going to be mentally tough. And hopefully they're going to be well coached. So let's hope that's going to be the case.
Speaking of well coached, Coach, this last season, you guys went 10-3 at China Spring. You had a two-headed monster at quarterback, and then what I would argue, the best running back in the state. I mean, that guy was a stud, Emmanuel Abdallah. Was there ever a time, or even now, is there a time where you get that old call? It's, hey, Brian, it's your brother. I'm looking for quarterback advice. Can you help me out? How often do you get those?
No, not very often. It's usually the other way around. I'm begging for information. Sean's I know it was a joke, but it's the truth. He's one of the smartest dudes that I know. Football X's and O's. It's unbelievable how smart he is, and you can see it too because his head's so big. He wears like an XL helmet. Used to wear an XL helmet. No telling what his hat size is, but no, he's extremely smart, and he knows a lot about football, and he shares it with me as much as he can, and I'm very grateful for that too. And so it's really the other way around. If I'm begging for that passing game information whenever I can get it.
Now, in regards to just what life is like for you right now with COVID, we saw schools across the country cancel their season. Credit to China Spring and credit to you guys for being able to finish the year and have a great year. Has it returned more to normal? Because that's the way it's feeling around the country at the college level. Is it more normal right now in China Spring with the COVID procedures?
I'd say a little bit. We're trying. It's shifting a little bit. I think the whole world is just kind of back to what it used to be a little bit. We still have protocols here, and I remember the first couple interviews we all used to do. I was having to wear a mask, and y'all were wearing masks, and it was kind of a crazy ordeal. And we're still wearing masks here as much as we can, and trying to keep people safe. But hopefully, in the next 2, 3, 4 months, we can transition and start moving in that back to normalcy direction.
Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, your dad, who retired as the head football coach to take a position as the athletic director solely a couple of years back. You got that head coaching job at China Spring. I remember that being a very emotional period in time, as he's a legend across high school football in Texas, and especially what he's done in 2 decades at China Spring. And now he's stepping away from the game as an athletic director and retiring in his role working for public schools. I would be remiss, like I said, to not let you give plug to who Mark Bell is and what he's done in the game of football locally, especially now as he retires. To try to be as unemotional as possible. My dad, he's my best friend, and for the past 3 years to be able to share an office with him has been extremely special for me. He's got like 210 wins as a head coach in the state of Texas, which is unbelievable. He's one of the best to ever do it, and he's got a phenomenal record, and he's oozing with information too. He shares it with me as much as he can, and my dad is a very common sense kind of guy. The reason he does a lot of things he does as an athletic program and as a football coach was just because it makes sense. He's tried it the wrong way and it didn't work, and so he does it this way because it works. And so the China Spring athletics as a whole has really thrived in his time here in the past couple of decades. And I'm sad to see him go selfishly, but he deserves a break. He deserves to get some time with the grandkids and some time out. We have a ranch. And so he deserves a break and then deserves some rest and relaxation. So he's going to enjoy that, but I'm going to miss him.
Coach, Drake and I were both extremely grateful for the ability to cover y'all and be able to have such a front row seat to what your dad was doing and what you were doing with that program. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. Give us a final score for this Saturday.
Oh gosh, back to my Cats.
Back to it.
Sam Houston State.
Sorry, I gave you whiplash there.
This is tough, and I know you guys love putting people on the spot live on air.
Boom.
It's a trademark.
I'm sorry.
And so you're going to put me on the spot, and that's fine. That's okay. I've got a lot of faith in their defense. They've been playing really well. So I think I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Goodness gracious, this is tough. Usually I don't like talking about this because then I'll jinx it. But I say Sam Houston, let's go 28, JMU 24.
Okay.
Got Sam
The spread
Houston
is
winning it by 4.
The spread is 1. Plus 1. All my money is going on Sam Houston now, Coach.
Wow.
Appreciate you.
No, don't put your money where my mouth is, man. Come on.
Well, I'm sure you'll be watching it, Coach, as we will too, getting our last little taste of football as that thing closes out in the FCS. But before we go, I mean, all-time winningest coach at Sam Houston State, 30 victories and 38 starts, ended up becoming the starter as a true freshman in the middle of the season and led the team to 2 national championships your junior and senior year. But here's where I want to park. 2012, Eastern Washington pulls up. You run 72 yards for a touchdown. Taking a snap from the 28-yard line, and you go to the house. Do you remember that play?
Yeah, how can I ever forget that? You run. Number one, you run a lot faster when you're scared. Yeah, I'll tell you that's a fact. And so those guys, it was a little misdirection, so they didn't know where the ball was at first. And so by the time they found out, I was already way down the field, and that's the only reason it could happen. But the all-time winningest quarterback, you keep throwing that out there. That's like the ultimate team award. I just happened to be on a great team with a phenomenal defense, and like I said, we had good receivers and the best running back to ever come through Sam Houston State history. So it was a blessing to be a part of it.
It certainly doesn't happen without the quarterback, as JD mentioned earlier in the show. But you got a Bear Games question for him today.
Yeah, Coach. What are you getting at Starbucks? We're all over the place this interview. What's your Starbucks order?
Black coffee.
Heck yeah. Let's go.
Black coffee?
That's the dog.
Simple.
That's the
dude.
dog.
Do you even go to Starbucks to get that? Please tell me you don't.
No, I don't. But a long time ago, a guy was drinking black coffee, and I thought it was pretty gross. And so I asked him, "Hey, why do you order black coffee?" And he said, "Have you ever seen a rich old man put cream and sugar in his coffee?" I was like, "No." And he said, "Well, I'm training to be a rich old man." So a long time ago, I'm trying to be a rich old man. I'm not going to get rich in this profession, but
that's a hard edge right there. Wow. That's a hard edge right there.
Wow, we hit it. We're not drinking black coffee because we like it. We're drinking it for social standing,
yes,
baby.
Sir.
Come on with it.
Exactly right.
Coach Brian Bell, thanks so much for joining the show today, giving us some perspective on Stephen F. Austin, and then your brother, your dad as well, and yourself. This has been great.
I appreciate you guys and all you do for not only Baylor but Central Texas sports, man. It's getting to know you guys over the last 7-8 months has been a blast.
We love doing it.
Thanks
we love doing it. Thanks again, Coach Brian Bell, the head coach of China Spring High School, and Stephen F. Austin. No, he would hate that. Sam Houston State's winningest all-time quarterback. They play against James Madison this weekend in the FCS playoffs, the national semifinal. I'm excited to watch that one, man. It's good to have football back here in the spring.
It's so fun. I think some of them are going to play in the fall, so they'll have like a shortened season in the spring, and then in the fall. I mean, they're working double duty, but credit to these guys. Credit to these student athletes for getting after it like that. That's impressive stuff. I'm pumped for it, man. It can be good.
There are teams that played like a couple of games in the fall and then came back and played more games in the spring, and they're going to play more games next fall. It's going to be a whirlwind for FCS, but you heard it from Brian Bell that no reason to make that to make this thing normal. No, let's not normalize the playing it in the spring, but hey, it's worked out for me. I've gotten to watch football. That's what matters. So when we come back from this break, Dan Ingham, the voice of Baylor softball, joins the show. They've got a big game this weekend. Coming up against Texas. Tonight, they're going to play in Austin, and then back to Waco on Saturday and Sunday. We'll also be joined later in the show by the voice of the baseball team, their PA announcer, Terry Hunt. So we're talking a little bit of baseball and softball here at Baylor when we come back. Don't go anywhere. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. PicKell, Armstrong Sims, Andrew Robertson. When we come back, Dan Ingham, the voice of the Baylor softball team. This is Up Tempo.
There's a new head coach in Waco, and it's Michael Woodson. Baylor announced yesterday that Woodson would be promoted from interim coach of the men's tennis team to head coach after leading this year's team to a 29-4 record and the number 1 ranking in the nation. Woodson is in his 5th season overall with the program after serving as an assistant for his first 4 years. He's a Valparaiso graduate who played tennis at the university and served as an assistant for the school prior to coming to Baylor. On the women's tennis side, the Lady Bears are in action today as they start postseason play against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in Waco. Match starts at 5 p.m. with the winner moving on to play in round 2 of the NCAA tournament in Waco Saturday, while the losing team goes home. And the men's team also begins postseason play this weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 2 p.m. at the Hurd Tennis Center. 2 other Baylor programs are also in action in Waco as the softball and baseball teams try to stay hot. Baseball starts a series with Kansas State at Baylor Ballpark tonight at 6:30 without Tyler Thomas. And the softball team treks to Austin for Game 1 of its weekend series against Texas at 6:30. The team returns to Getterman Stadium for the final 2 games of the series at 3 p.m. Saturday and 1 p.m. Sunday. Nicki Collen will throw out Saturday's first pitch. In national news, even after an NCAA tournament berth, the Hartford Hawks will move to Division III after a vote by the university's Board of Regents. The school will transition in 2025. And Texas linebacker Jake Ellinger, brother of newly drafted Colt Sam Ellinger, was found dead yesterday off campus in Austin. According to police, there was no suspicious evidence involved. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia, Jesus died for our Cynthias.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts. Julia
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Friday, everybody. Rounding out your week and a big weekend of Baylor sports coming up. Nicki Collen this week hired as a Baylor women's basketball coach. You got softball, baseball this weekend, tennis in the NCAA championships, and now we're joined by Dan Ingham. You say, that's a commercial guy, right? That's exactly right. Dan Ingham, the same one from the SicEm365 commercials. But Dan voiced the Baylor softball team, and they got a big one coming up this weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, Drake. I'm excited to join you. I'm certainly looking forward to the games in Austin this weekend. In fact, I will be headed down there, or the game in Austin tonight. I'll be headed down there in about 15 minutes or so after this interview. So I'm fired up. When Baylor and UT play, it's always fun. I'm glad there get to be some fans in the stands too.
Dan, walk me through first and foremost. You've got a series. This happens every year. And I don't know if there's even really a reason why, but it's game one of the series takes place at the opposing ballpark. And then games 2 and 3 take place at the other ballpark. Is there any rhyme or reason to that?
Well, they've been doing it as long as I've been around the Baylor softball program, and I think one of the biggest reasons they do it is it's a guaranteed good gate at both ballparks. I mean, each year, arguably, it's the biggest game on the schedule. Maybe OU is sometimes, but you're going to have some of your biggest crowds, so you're guaranteeing a good game for the home fans in every single year. And so I think that's part of the reason. It's very easy, only an hour and a half apart, so travel is not an issue when you do that. But as long as I've been a part of the Baylor softball program, I think this is my 6th year doing play-by-play. They have done it this way where they split it, each season.
Well, Dan, I'm sure you know, like you said, 6 years in the seat for Baylor softball. This is a Texas team and a Texas program that's really had a resurgence in their last couple of years under a new coaching staff. Prior to that, it felt like they were treading water more so. But now, I mean, that's a dominant team. Probably a top 10 team in the country, while the record and standings might not reflect that. They're a solid squad. What does Baylor have up against themselves going into the weekend?
Well, I think you hit on when Coach White came in there from Oregon. That was a pretty big splash in the softball world. It was a big-time hire because he had a good gig at Oregon, but Del Conte made a big splash and made a big financial commitment to softball. Really before that, Baylor had dominated the series with UT. And so they've only gotten to go against White one time. They were swept, but Baylor, it has been historically very good for the last 2 decades under Glenn Moore. UT's always been a good program, but I don't think maybe they thought they were reaching their potential. And so when Coach White came in there, he brought in a bunch of transfers from Oregon year one, kind of instantly made them very good. They were good last year. They're good this year as well. So you're going up against a team in UT this year that is very good offensively, similar in some ways to Oklahoma. I mean, no one's quite like Oklahoma offensively, but they're top 10 nationally in almost every major hitting category, and they've got a couple of big arms as well. So Baylor certainly has a challenge this weekend, but I think Baylor's up for this challenge as well. This is a Baylor team that's hitting their stride offensively, despite having to go through all kinds of injuries this year. They've got Gia Rodoni pitching really well also.
Dan, one number that really stands out to me is the number 30 in juxtaposition to the number 16. Texas has played 30 home games this season, while Baylor has only gotten to see the home field 16 times. That is almost the least in the Big 12. Oklahoma's only gone home 14 times. Is that unique? This really seems like a different year, but that number 16 seems really, really uncharacteristically low.
Well, you lost a tournament, and so that was a big part of it. Baylor lost a tournament due to the the snow issues we had earlier this year, the ice and whatnot. But also scheduling was a little tricky this year too, because, you lost last season, you had commitments for certain games, and then they didn't stick with the last year's we didn't have any Big 12 games last year. So you had to stick with that schedule. So coaches, weren't sure what the schedule was going to be. So yeah, it's a low number. It's happened before, but I've had Glenn Moore tell me lots of times before that, there's something that you can really find out about your team when you have to travel a lot, and you're as a group, you're traveling together. And certainly this year's a unique year to travel. I've been a part of quite a bit of that traveling, and it's certainly a little bit different this year. But, yes, it is unique that it's a low number, but I don't know. I don't think it's affected this team.
Dan, when it comes to Baylor, you talked about Baylor's offense getting hot at the right time, and especially they have the last couple of games. Getterman Stadium, I've heard Coach Moore say it, Getterman Stadium doesn't play well to the long ball. That's true, and it doesn't always play fair to offenses. Is it not such a bad thing that Baylor is on the road in its first game against UT and then moving forward through the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be on the road in the postseason. You know that. Baylor's not going to be hosting a regional this year. You've got 2 more home games, and you're right. If you talk to any of the hitters that have ever played at Getterman Stadium, the wind is always blowing in from left field at Getterman Stadium. I've done hundreds of games there now, and I can count on maybe 1 or 2 hands the number of time the wind's blowing out there. It's just always blowing in from left field. So it's not a great hitter's park, and you've got to really hit it pretty hard to get it out of there. Though Baylor's actually been hitting the ball pretty well. Had several home runs from some of their key players the last couple of weeks. But to answer your question, sure, I think it's a good thing to get on the road and test yourself against a really good team, because that's what you're going to be doing in a couple of weeks with the Big 12 championship and then the NCAA tournament as well.
You mentioned this team and how they battled injury and COVID. There have been a lot of different bumps in the road this year. You saw the Oklahoma series that was postponed due to COVID, and you had the doubleheader on a Tuesday. Like, you're setting up to play the number 1 team in the country, and now you got to do it back-to-back on a weeknight. The struggles, the adversity this team has faced, can you walk us through some details of those?
Yeah, I mean, so you lose Nikki Dawson with a hand injury. She's your leadoff hitter, career leader in triples in program history, one of the best players in the nation, great defensive player. You lose Nikki Dawson. Anna Watson was playing her best softball of her career, I think it's safe to say. Local product, went to Riker High School here in Waco. She was in the starting lineup, hitting over 400. I think at the time she was leading the team in RBIs, and that was pretty impressive. You lost her for the season with a torn ACL. Aaliyah Benford was out for a couple of weeks with COVID issues. Madison Kettler, a senior, a starter just about her entire career, or at least a contributor her entire career. She's now out for the season with an ankle injury. Am I missing anyone else here? I'm sure I am, but it's been a rough year injury-wise. That's what I'm getting at. Marin Judish, a freshman pitcher, but someone who's contributed to this team. She's had some injury issues as well, though Glenmore expects to get her back this year. But I think you get the point. There's been a lot of injuries, and there's 2 ways you can go with that. You can say, poor, pitiful me, and fold up and the season's over, or you can keep on winning games and have a top 30 RPI and have a good chance to make the NCAA tournament. And that's what Baylor's done.
Dan, looking back at the BYU series, into Texas State in the midweek, and then Oklahoma State in Stillwater. 7 straight losses for this team now, going back to the early April. It's been about a month since then, and there's a new spark, especially in the offensive end like we talked about. What is different? While the team has fewer players now than even they did then, what is different that's led to this team getting hot now?
You've got Gia Rodoni, who's getting 100% healthy and pitching like one of the best pitchers in the country again. She's pitching like an ace, 6th-year senior Gia Rodoni. That's always huge. When you're talking softball, if you've got a good pitcher, that's huge. And I would say your top 3 or 4 hitters in the lineup have been outstanding the last couple of weeks. When you're talking about Lou Gilbert, Emily Hott, Goose McGlon, Aaliyah Benford, in Big 12 play, they're hitting, I think, around 380 or so, the four players. Lou Gilbert's been fun to watch, too. She's hitting over 400. I think she has 4 home runs in Big 12 play. When you look at her, you don't think power hitter. She's really fast. I think she may lead the team in stolen bases, but I think those are some of the reasons why this team is playing so well.
Looking forward to Texas this weekend. We talked about earlier in the show, standings-wise, Texas at 9-6, Baylor at 8-6. There's the 1-game snub where you didn't get to see Oklahoma 3 times, and that could, while it could work against Baylor's favor, you're in a situation where now Texas, the series becomes even bigger. What's on the line this weekend?
Yeah, if Baylor wins 2 of 3, they move up to 3rd. In terms of NCAA tournaments, I'm not sure how huge of an impact this weekend is going to have. Maybe more for Texas if they're trying to host a regional. If Baylor goes out and sweeps them, that could really hurt them. I feel pretty good that Baylor's in the NCAA tournament. Let me knock on wood right here. But they're number 31 or 32 RPI, and they've taken care of business. Now, I will say, if you move up to 3rd in the standings, you don't have to play Oklahoma in pool play in the Big 12 championship. Now, if you want to win the championship, you'd have to play them eventually, but you at least get to avoid them in pool play. So if you move up to number 3 in the standings, that's one benefit right there.
Dan, along with that and looking at the schedule, what Baylor's done so far compared to Texas, UT coming off of that sweep against Oklahoma State, momentum in their favor, they get swept against the Lady Cowgirls. I guess the Cowgirls? I don't know if we have to put Lady there. I think that kind of checks itself out. But
I think you're good with just Cowgirls.
Where does that put this Texas team coming into the series against Baylor?
They've won a bunch of games. Yeah, it stinks to get swept, but after seeing Oklahoma State play earlier this year, I think Oklahoma State's probably better than Texas. Now, did I expect them to sweep them? No, but this is a really good Oklahoma State team. They've got great hitters and probably the best pitchers that Kenny Gajewski's had up there. So I tend to think they're going to be okay. UT, I don't think you're going to get a wounded team. You might, but I've found over the years, typically 18 to 22-year-olds bounce back pretty quickly. In fact, they bounce back quicker than us adults do. We probably internalize it a little bit more. Kids just get back out there and play again. So my gut is you're going to get a very good UT team this weekend, but you'll get a really good Baylor team as well. But I don't think it's going to be a huge impact.
Dan, looking towards postseason play, one of the conversations we had on the show earlier today is talking about the 2 or 3 seed. It looks like Baylor will not host for the regional round, but they got a great shot of either being a 2 or 3 seed wherever they do go. Is there a difference, really, at the end of the day, in those 2 seeds, or does it pretty much just kind of fold out where it folds out when it comes to seeding with those 2 combined?
I don't think there's a huge difference. It's all about where you go. And there's some regional looking at the map sometimes plays into where you go for the NCAA tournament. You know, they don't seed the NCAA tournament 1 through 64 like they do in basketball, that kind of deal. So, you know, they try and keep it as fair as they can, but they're also try and keep teams regionally close if they can, so you don't have to fly, and that saves money. Or you can get, you know, that doesn't always work out that. We've gone to Oregon before, we've gone on a plane to Arizona before, but so I don't think there's a huge difference between being a 2 or 3 seed. The important thing is where you're going. I mean, not all 1 seeds are created equal also. Like, you know, if you're a 1 seed, you're darn good, but you don't want to go to the same regional as, say, Oklahoma, in which Baylor's not because they don't put conference teams together. But you would rather go to the regional where the 1 seed is, maybe a little bit lower down the RPAS.
Dan, when it comes to Baylor's season this year and talking about teams they would like to be matched up with locally in a regional, I look specifically at Arkansas, a team that in that game, Baylor was up 2-0 in the second. It felt like they had momentum, and a couple of errors just really tanked that game, but Baylor showed they could compete, at least with the University of Arkansas. Is that maybe one of the more favorable matchups for this team moving into the postseason, looking at a regional?
I mean, I don't know how favorable it is because Arkansas is really, really good. But so is Baylor. I mean, Baylor's a good team too, but I think you hit on something. I don't think it would be a shock to me, at least, if Baylor is sent to that regional, but anything can happen. But, you know, we went there last February, I think it was, and played in the tournament there and played quite well. I think we beat Arkansas, beat Florida State, played really well there. They've got an outstanding facility, so they can certainly host a regional and do a really good job there. So it would not shock me off all if Arkansas is a place where Baylor goes. Now, anything can happen because there might be another area team that they want to send to Arkansas or LSU or Missouri, these closer by places. And then maybe you do hop on a plane and you're flying to the West Coast or the East Coast. But selfishly, I'd kind of like to go to Arkansas. I love Fayetteville. It's a great town. It's a great, beautiful area right there. They have an awesome facility. So just as the radio play-by-play guy, I love a place that has its own, you know, nice setup for us. But I know it's not about me. But just selfishly, I wouldn't mind going to Arkansas. That's a great place to go play softball. And we have some history of beating them, too.
Yeah, Bogle is quite the park for sure. And I know Coach Moore, even dating back to the Pinkerton days, has had a lot of success in Fayetteville. As an Arkansas native, I too, not to be too selfish, but I too would be pretty cool with that. I'd be all right with them playing in Fayetteville. I want to take you back, though, Dan, and kind of park for a second with some of these individual performers and players this season. And really where I want to start, I want to take you back to a season that most want to forget. That's that 2019 year, 18-31 overall, just 2 conference wins. You knock off number 9 South Carolina in game 1, and then from there, injury bug just plagues you the entire season for Glenn Moore and company. And really, Sydney Holman Manziel, then I guess Sydney Holman, they're looking at her to perform. And she had to pitch almost the entire season. What have you seen from her this year in juxtaposition of when she had to go almost the entire route in that 2019 year?
Well, she's matured. She's gotten better. Both Glenn Moore and Brittany Newman have told me she's really coachable, and I'm not sure there's a better compliment you can give a player. You know, 2019 was tough because she was pretty much, you know, our only option when Gia Rodoni went down. But she was our best option. So there were times where, you know, games would get out of hand. Normally you would switch up to the next pitcher, but they just couldn't do that. So that was just a rough year, 2019. It didn't break her. It made it tougher. And now she's a big part of this team and will be a big factor in the success of this team in the postseason if they're going to have some.
I know you mentioned already Lou Gilbert on the offensive end and what she's up. She is the bunt single queen, I think is what Krista Pirtle has coined her as. But her ability to field, I mean, she's made some remarkable plays in left field, and that's not a position she was necessarily privy to prior to this year. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, she's been really good defensively. You're right. She's had, and she's one of several players on this team that have had to be, jack of all trades for Baylor because of injuries. And so when you have that kind of flexibility, you can play several positions. Hannah Smith has done that. Taylor Ellis has done that big time during her career. But you're right. Lou Gilbert, she is a third-year player. I think she's got the potential to be a big-time player. She's already playing like it right now, but I think you're going to see her name on preseason lists, that kind of deal. She's got the talent. She's a lot of fun to be around too, and she's really, really good and playing really well right now.
Dan, on top of that, looking at the middle infield, Aaliyah Binford at shortstop, who, like you said, another one of those jack-of-all-trades, kind of a Swiss Army knife. She can come in and pitch for you as well. She's one of the better power hitters on the team. And then right across from her, Emily Hott at second base. Both of them, it seems like, have really locked things down in the middle infield so far. And is that maybe one of Baylor's keys to success, trying to win in the postseason moving forward?
Yeah, the key will be just scoring or keeping teams pitching well, keeping teams under 2 runs. I think I saw a stat recently. I can't remember what it was, but I think Baylor either hasn't lost a game or only lost 1 game when they've held a team to 2 runs or less. So when Baylor pitches well, they're going to win because they've got enough offense to do it. So now I mentioned how well the top 4 hitters in the lineup are playing. If you get your last 5 hitters in the lineup, if they start hitting a little bit better too, or contributing more, which they can do and have done, that's when things can get really special. But I do think the way that you mentioned Emily Hott, Aaliyah Binford, Lou Gilbert, Goose, the way those players are hitting makes this offense go big time right now.
Dan, last couple of questions here for you. The corner infielders as well. You got Taylor Ellis, who's locked down third base, like a new position for a new. She's been everywhere. And then Goose McGlawn at first base, both offensively and defensively. How do they anchor this team?
Well, they're both they're respected players on the team because, they've both been here a while. They're 5th-year players. I mean, Goose McGlawn, she was the one who hit that 3-run homer against Arizona way back 4 years ago that sent Baylor to the World Series. This is a true freshman, and she's been outstanding her whole career. She's moving up. She's in the top 10 career homers, has a chance to move up even higher. Taylor Ellis, outstanding player as well. You mentioned it. She's played catcher. She's played shortstop. She's played third base, and she's done it with a smile. She's a competitor. You can kind of just see her grit out there. So, yeah, the folks on the corners are really good for this team, really solid, and they're kind of what you expect out of a senior, too.
Dan, last question for you before we get to our Bear games today, and that is this team. What gives you the confidence they can make a run come postseason play?
Gia Rodoni pitching well. I hate to make it, but that's that simple. When you pitch well, you've got a chance. Yes, you can win 10 to 8 games, that kind of stuff. But if you've got a pitcher shutting down the opposing team and holding them to 1 or 2 runs, you're going to win a lot of games in college softball. Yes, the game has changed a little bit in recent years. It's less small ball, more power hitting. But if you've got a good pitcher who can shut down the other lineup, you can win a lot. So if Gia continues to pitch well, pitch like she has in previous postseasons. This is not her first rodeo when it comes to postseason, but if Gia continues to pitch well, Sydney, Aaliyah as well, this team can go far.
And then Dan, our Bear Games question of the day today, kind of like this is out of left field, which pun intended. Your Starbucks order. When you roll through the Starbucks drive-thru, what are you getting?
All right, my Starbucks order. So I would say I'm kind of boring. I just get like a blonde coffee, maybe with a little bit of cream in it. That's about it. I'm pretty boring when it comes to coffee. And I'm not going to Starbucks. I'm going to a locally owned coffee shop instead.
Boom. I love it. What a way to put it. Dan Ingham, thanks so much for joining the show today and giving us your perspective on Baylor softball as they move into the Texas series in the postseason.
No problem. Thanks for what you guys do. You guys do an outstanding job, and SicEm Bears.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Dan. Again, that was Dan Ingham, the voice of the Baylor softball program, does play-by-play for Baylor, and he'll be in Austin tonight. He said he's got 1 foot stepping out of his chair, headed down there to face number 14 Texas. He's on his way down the road. Texas just was swept by Oklahoma State. Baylor trying to be another team that sneaks up on them. If Baylor can win 2 out of 3 this weekend, they will take third place in the Big 12. Tonight's a big part of that, trying to win tonight against UT. It looks like it's going to be Gia Rodoni that's starting on the mound for Baylor. And if they can, or starting in the circle for Baylor, if they can take tonight Well, that's the first domino. That's going to fall for them to be able to take that third seed, because when you look at the Big 12 tournament, nobody wants to play Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a dominant powerhouse. They run rule Baylor, mercy rule Baylor, but they've won every game this season by mercy rule aside from 11, and they've played like 43 games. They're a dominant team in the sport. They're reminiscent of 2015 Kentucky, and if they don't win the World Series this year, it'll be very surprising. So you want to avoid them in the first couple rounds, your pool play of the Big 12 championship tournament. So I'll tell you, it's big to be the third seed, and Baylor can do it this weekend against a solid Texas team. You don't get your Kansas football program that you can roll over when you're facing Texas softball. It's going to take a lot out of Baylor, but they got a shot. They close out the regular season with a 3-game series. They'll be in Austin tonight at 6 o'clock, and then Friday they'll host the Longhorns, or Saturday they'll host the Longhorns at 3 p.m. Sunday they'll host the Longhorns at 1 p.m. Both of those games at Getterman Stadium. Texas leads the overall series 33-21. Baylor's last win in Austin came April 17th, 2018. That was a 3-0 win. And the Lady Bears' last series win over the Longhorns was in that same season, 2018. All 3 wins. I tell you, one of those games was in Waco, but 3 of those wins came against UT in a 3-game sweep against the Longhorns. Baylor's currently half a game behind Texas for 4th in the Big 12 standings. If the Lady Bears take 2 this weekend, as I said, they will be the 3 seed in the Big 12 to finish things out. And prior to Saturday's game, Baylor will present a plaque to Mark Lumley's family to honor the legacy he left in his 20 years at Baylor. After 20 seasons as an assistant coach for the Lady Bears, Lumley retired in October before he passed away in December after his 4th bout with cancer. The Baylor players and coaching staff have all been wearing blue ribbons in his honor. This season is for Lum. And then Sunday's game will be senior day for the Lady Bears with 8 student athletes, 3 student staff members graduating this weekend. The group will be honoring post-game after Baylor's regular season finale. And Glenn Moore now has 800 wins at Baylor alone as a head coach of the Lady Bears softball program. Glenn Moore was honored in the game the other night against Kansas, and they'll continue to honor him as he has reached that milestone marker. Baylor competing against Texas this weekend, and Nicki Collen will throw out the first pitch for the game on Saturday, 3 p.m., first pitch. Nicki Collen is going to toss it out there. And, welcome to town, Nicki Collen. Come throw the first pitch of the softball game. She'll do just that. Also like to mention Luke Gilbert, Emily Hott are making the splash in Big 12 play as those two are among the top 10 in the conference in multiple categories in league action. And then Luke Gilbert moved in the leadoff spot due to Nikki Dawson's injury. Gilbert has both the short and long game. She has 47 hits. 19 of those are for extra bases. Lou Gilbert. When we come back from this break, I've been talking a lot of softball as they go into the big series against Texas. We're going to talk some baseball, too. Terry Hunt joins the show. He is the voice of Baylor baseball over the PA system. It's that iconic voice that's calling up the batters and welcoming you to Baylor Ballpark at the Turner Riverfront Complex. And now Terry Hunt joins our show to talk to us about their series this weekend with Kansas State. The Wildcats and the Bears squaring off. Baylor a little bit more shorthanded than you would like due to COVID, but if they can pull out a win, if Baylor can pull out a win this weekend and a series sweep, they're in great standing in the Big 12 to be able to move up and have even better seeding going into the postseason. It's a dangerous Baylor baseball team that, they weren't supposed to be that good. And here they are threatening to be ranked. If they sweep this weekend, they should be ranked. Baylor baseball. Terry Hunt joins us right after this to talk about it. Series this weekend with Kansas State. I'm Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims, Andrew Robertson. When we come back, Terry Hunt joins the show to talk about Baylor baseball series with KSU this weekend. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
There's a new head coach in Waco, and it's Michael Woodson. Baylor announced yesterday that Woodson would be promoted from interim coach of the men's tennis team to head coach after leading this year's team to a 29-4 record and the #1 ranking in the nation. Woodson is in his 5th season overall with the program after serving as an assistant for his first 4 years. He's a Valparaiso graduate who played tennis at the university and served as an assistant for the school prior to coming to Baylor. On the women's tennis side, the Lady Bears are in action today as they start postseason play against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in Waco. Match starts at 5 p.m. with the winner moving on to play in round 2 of the NCAA tournament in Waco Saturday, while the losing team goes home. And the men's team also begins postseason play this weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 2 p.m. at the Hurd Tennis Center. 2 other Baylor programs are also in action in Waco as the softball and baseball teams try to stay high. Baseball starts the series with Kansas State at Baylor Ballpark tonight at 6:30 without Tyler Thomas. And the softball team treks to Austin for Game 1 of its weekend series against Texas at 6:30. And the team returns to Getterman Stadium for the final 2 games of the series at 3 p.m. Saturday and 1 p.m. Sunday. Nicki Collen will throw out Saturday's first pitch. In national news, even after an NCAA tournament berth, the Hartford Hawks will move to Division III after a vote by the university's Board of Regents. The school will transition in 2025. And Texas linebacker Jake Ellinger, brother of newly drafted Colt Sam Ellinger, was found dead yesterday off campus in Austin. According to police, there was no suspicious evidence involved. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Friday, everybody. What a Friday it is. We're rounding out the last hour, the 1 o'clock hour of the show today. Big weekend Baylor athletics. You got the tennis teams, both the tennis teams, in postseason action in Waco this weekend. On top of that, Baylor baseball at home against Kansas State. Baylor softball against UT in Austin and in Waco. And Nicki Collen, new women's basketball coach. Joining the show now, though, to land on baseball really quick. That's Terry Hunt, the iconic voice himself. Terry, thanks for coming on with us today.
I'm not sure how iconic it is. I think of Derek Smith and J-Mo as the iconic voices. But, yeah, thank you very much. I just want to mention, I'm not trying to be cool with my shades, but you know where I am. I'm working one of the graduations here at McLean Stadium. So I'm sitting up where you guys sit on the 5th floor, and that bright is coming in to polarize the lenses. So that's what I'm doing over here today.
Terry, you could have gone with the whole I am trying to be cool. If you would have said that, it would have worked out. We would have been right there with you. But I can tell you, that is the 11 o'clock or noon football games are the bane of my existence. And you can understand why right now, because it is beaten down on you. But thank you still for joining our show today. Terry, I got to know, Baylor baseball came into this season with an unexpected, random 3-game series against UTRGV. And what was even more unexpected than the series itself was Baylor losing that series. But this is a whole different ball club now.
Well, you got to look at what they've been doing recently. I mean, of the last 17 games, you're talking, they're 14-3. And then you look at their home. Well, home field advantage means a lot for these Bears when they've won 20 games and only lost 3 at home. So even though I heard you mention the COVID questions and not knowing exactly who's playing and who's not because of Coach Rod kind of keeping that very, very quiet, you can't pass up a home field advantage for these Bears in any series.
No, and Terry, what has surprised me, it's so odd, I think, across college athletics in general. We looked at the on the men's basketball side. When we got to the halfway point of Big 12 play, it was a winning record for visiting teams in Big 12 play because the crowds weren't there, the energy, the environment. And for the first couple of weekends for baseball, it was the same way. You only had 25% capacity, and it was tough to get people in the seats because you're in the middle of a pandemic. And even without that crowd, though, how has this team just rallied around being at home and played so well at Baylor Ballpark?
Well, there are some diehard fans that come out no matter what, even with that 25%. But I will tell you, it was playoff atmosphere when they opened it to 50%, and the Longhorns, I know they're going to be back in town taking on the softball team coming up. But when they came in for that series, Baylor just looked good next to those guys. They didn't look as strong as they were on paper, and the crowds were there and people were excited to be out. And I think people are just excited after Coach Rod has been here for a few years. They're excited about Baylor baseball again.
Terry, along with that, you talked about Coach Rod coming into this season. There are a lot of folks that thought, all right, here's where it is. Can Coach Rod put it up with this roster? They were selected 8th overall preseason in the Big 12. Is there a way that he can help lead this team to the top of the Big 12 in a year where they weren't expected to be there? And I think we've seen Coach Rod said, all right, put up or shut up time. He put up.
And he put up with some freshmen in the starting lineup who have played way above their heads. That's the coolest thing, is watching these freshmen come in and just blow people away. I mean, you start looking at these guys and you're like, oh my gosh, where did this guy come from? Oh, he's a freshman. Where did this guy come from? Oh, he's a freshman pitcher. This is what he's building. That's exactly what Coach Rod does. He will take what he has, he will add to it, and the blocks just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Terry, along with it, you talked about freshmen. It's so odd to me that even the guys that are maybe not necessarily freshmen, they're technically second-year guys like a Jared McKenzie. I mean, he had never played a Big 12 series until this season, and now he's arguably the best player in the conference from the offensive and defensive side. He's nuts. How? How are these guys doing it without little to any experience?
Well, when you watch him from the booth and you see this and you You know how it is when you're doing softball. You've got a couple of managers up there. These guys are having fun. They're enjoying what they're doing. It's not a tedious, oh, we got to go back out and work today. We got to go back out and do this. We've got to take on another series or anything like that. No, you can see it from the inside out that these guys are having fun and enjoying what they're doing. And it's kind of like a team of a few years ago. This Baylor baseball team this year, if they get down some runs early, they don't just go, now we're done. These guys have rallied and will continue to rally. It doesn't matter. They play till the last out every game.
Terry, it's so peculiar to me coming into this season. Everyone was ready for it to be a pitcher-dominant team for Baylor. This was going to be a great senior-laden staff that really is where the team made its bed, but it's been the offense. I mean, this team has hit so much better than anyone, myself included, could have imagined.
Exactly. And they've hit from top to bottom. I mean, from the top of the lineup to the bottom of the lineup, no matter how they do. Coach Rod can rearrange it a little bit, but it still is powerful from the leadoff to the last batter, the ninth one. And they can all hit in any situation. I mean, if they need to play small ball to get a couple of runs in, they do that. If they need power, they've got that. I mean, again, it starts at the top. It doesn't stop 4 or 5 batters down. It goes all the way to the ninth batter that's there.
Terry, looking at the series in Lubbock. So I know we juxtapose UTRGV, a series lost in the first series of the year, to then going to Texas Tech, being the first team since 2018 to win a series in Lubbock and beating the number 5 team in the country handedly. I mean, giving it to Tech twice that weekend, then facing Prairie View A&M, the top team in the Southern Conference, winning 14-0 in 7 innings. I mean, is this team playing their best baseball now when it matters the most?
Well, I'm sure Coach Rod would tell you they're playing really good, but their best baseball is still to come when they get a little farther into the seeding issue and things like that. But I think they are. And they picked it up after the low point. When they lost the series, swept at TCU, that was a low point for the guys. And they came back, and it's a different baseball team, just a different baseball team.
Terry, looking at Kansas State this weekend, obviously there's some Big 12 standing implications with that series as Kansas State is right on the heels of Baylor, and this team tries to make their way up again and overtake Texas Tech in the Big 12 standings, and they have that opportunity this weekend. What do you see some of the big takeaways coming into this matchup with the Wildcats?
Well, I think the first thing we got to find out is who's going to be playing and who isn't with this COVID issue. Again, the first thing you notice is Tyler Thomas is not in the pitching rotation this weekend. That gives you an idea that may be part of it. But I think it all depends on what we see when we get the lineup put together. But you've seen it before. One man down, next man up, and they take care of things. I do not expect anything to change when it comes from the top of the order to start and get those hits and get runs quickly on that. I think you'll see Andy Thomas come alive a bunch this week. There's something about Andy Thomas, and he gets up for these games. Mentioned Jared McKenzie. When it comes to the defense, Pineda and Richardson, man, are they not like the best combination that you've seen in a long time? Wow, they're good.
Certainly Trey Richardson, who we had on this show right after the UTRGV series. I mean, there were still a lot of questions about this season, and he talked about it. He said, hey, I got confidence we're going to win. And just about everybody at that point thought it was crazy, and here the team is with a great shot to go out and, again, get another series victory this weekend. Talk about, Terry, Hayden Kettler. I mean, the role that he's settled into, and now he's going to be the Friday night guy without T-Tom out there. Kettler's got to show up come tonight's ball game.
Well, he does have to show up, and you can tell fairly early, and you know how it is being just a PA guy watching. You can tell if they have it when they start. You can tell it in the warm-ups. And Hayden has looked great all year, only a couple of little bumps in the road. But again, you go back to some of the other games where you've seen the pitcher get in a couple of innings really good, and then they have a rocky mid-third inning or something like that. And Coach Rod will keep them out there to get them through that, and they come strong. I think that's what we're going to see from Hayden. He's going to start strong. If there's a struggle in there, I don't think Coach Rod's going to yank him really quick. I think he's going to keep him in there and say, work your way through this. This is what you've got to do. This is why you're leading our team this way and starting tonight.
Terry, looking even back at the Smith era and what Coach Rod did early at Baylor, I'm used to the dinking and dunking. Some small ball baseball. Let's get a couple bunts across. If we score 4 runs and our pitching staff does well, we're looking at a win. But it's not like that this year. I mean, Baylor's outscoring its opponents 46-19 in the first inning of games. This offense gets started. I mean, is this uncharacteristic of what you've seen from Baylor baseball offensively?
You know, there were some years where they would always come and be behind a couple of runs after the first inning. I mean, that was historic with a couple of pitchers in the past. And you're like, oh, here we go again. But they scrap back into it. Now, if they don't have the lead after the first inning, you're like, uh-oh, what's going on? But no, I don't have any doubts at all. I mean, the pitcher that the K-State is going to be throwing is good, but he has some weaknesses. And I think Baylor will find those right as soon as we walk in the box, the first batter.
Terry, you got Kansas State in a 3-game series. You go to a huge, even bigger, I would say, 3-game matchup against Oklahoma State and Stillwater, and come home for what might be the biggest against Oklahoma, who already beat Baylor earlier this season in Waco those last 3 games. 9 games left still in conference play. What do the Bears need to do across that stretch to really bolster their postseason resume?
Well, of course, you want to see them at least take the series, take 2-2-2 if they can. I don't think it's as big of an if as some people say. Again, you mentioned, are they playing the best that they have? Are they the hottest team right now in the Big 12? If they're not, they're pretty doggone close to the top. And so taking this series, which I think is still possible, even with the COVID issues and K-State being pretty good, I think this is going to be a good series here. You take the next 2. Just play each game at a time like Coach Rod. Hey, this is the game. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. Let's take it 1 game at a time. Knock out a couple of the next 2 series after that, and we're looking good.
Terry, last couple questions here for you. When you look across this schedule and what Baylor has the opportunity to do, where is this team ceiling? I mean, Baylor's known for being that scrappy little school down in Texas that gets hot at the right time and knocks off the big dogs. How far can this team go?
I think the sky's the limit on this. You know, you talk about where teams are peaking and things like that during the season with any kind of sport. How are you doing? You look at what horse is peaking when it comes to the Derby and things like that. We're playing well. The Bears are playing great. I'm not sure they've hit a peak yet. I think they're still on the way up. So I look for that moving up in the Big 12 standings and a fairly decent seed when we get to the playoffs. And I see what started out the year as hoping to at least look good is now hoping to see how far we can go inside the playoffs, how deep we go. So I think there's a lot of strong possibilities that we're going to see some rounds disappear, and the Baylor Bears going to stay right there.
Terry, last question for you before we get to our Bear games. Kind of want to go back to where we started, and that's what is it? What is it that makes this Baylor team so just scrappy? I don't want to say dominant necessarily because they're not winning every series in dominant fashion, but they're doing it in scrappy and just fun fashion, I guess I should say.
I think it always starts at the top. I think you look at what Coach Rod has done, John Strauss, Mitch Taylor, Mitch Carrick. I mean, you look at what they've established there, and yeah, you have fun when you win, but when you're not winning, that's where you still need to have fun. And I think Coach Rod has instilled that in this team. I think that's what we've seen building in the past few years with Coach Rod's tenure here so far is building the team, but building in to keep it fun, make it enjoyable for those guys. You know, when you get to a certain level, even in college sports, and you do some of the routine things that you should be doing, you may see a high five here or there or something like that. These guys go in after they've put one over the fence or they've scored, and the team is cheering loudly for them. So, yeah, I think it starts at the top with Coach Steve Rodriguez, trickles down to the team, and I think it is F-U-N. It is just fun baseball for these guys.
I love it. Terry, thanks so much for joining the show today. Before we get you out of here, we got our Bear Games question of the day. This is a peculiar one.
All right.
We know we got a lot of people out there with some complicated Starbucks coffee orders. Say that you're rolling through the Starbucks drive-thru. What are you snagging for yourself?
All right. I heard you talking to my buddy Dan Ingram a few minutes ago. You're not going to believe this because, you know, I did radio for a long time. I did mornings. I am not a coffee drinker. but they make really good sweet tea, but you have to get 10 squirts of the sweetener.
Oh my gosh.
So that's
You're the guy. You're the guy that rolls up and says, I want a sweet tea and 10 squirts of sweetener.
Yes, if they only put 3 or 4, it's not sweet. You want it sweet. So I've learned it's 10 squirts in sweet tea. That's my Starbucks go-to, bud.
That's the one. Terry Hunt, lock it in. Thank you so much for joining the show today and talking a little bit of Baylor baseball and some Starbucks with us.
You bet. Not a problem. We'll see you at the stadium this weekend. I'll see you there tonight, probably.
Yeah, I'll be there tonight. Terry, a pleasure. Thanks again.
You bet. No problem. Thanks.
Again, that was Terry Hunt of Baylor Baseball. He's the PA announcer. I mean, that voice, you just can't. Once you go to a baseball game, you know that voice. You just know that voice. Terry Hunt joining the show today on Uptempo, talking about the series this weekend against Kansas State. When we come back from this break, we're going to be doing our top 5. But we've had a lot of good moments. We've had a lot of good moments this week on the show Uptempo, and so we're going to rank them 1 to 5 or 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, or we're going to do something. That's for sure. And talk about what really went right this week. I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong Sims, Andrew Robertson. When we come back, it is top 5 time on Uptempo.
There's a new head coach in Waco, and it's Michael Woodson. Baylor announced yesterday that Woodson would be promoted from interim coach of the men's tennis team to head coach after leading this year's team to a 29-4 record and the number 1 ranking in the nation. Woodson is in his 5th season overall with the program after serving as an assistant for his first 4 years. He's a Valparaiso graduate who played tennis at the university and served as an assistant for the school prior to coming to Baylor. On the women's tennis side, the Lady Bears are in action today as they start postseason play against Texas A&M Corpus Christi in Waco. Match starts at 5 p.m. with the winner moving on to play in round 2 of the NCAA tournament in Waco Saturday, while the losing team goes home. And the men's team also begins postseason play this weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 2 p.m. at the Hurd Tennis Center. 2 other Baylor programs are also in action in Waco as the softball and baseball teams try to stay high. Baseball starts a series with Kansas State at Baylor Ballpark tonight at 6:30 without Tyler Thomas. And the softball team treks to Austin for Game 1 of its weekend series against Texas at 6:30. And the team returns to Getterman Stadium for the final 2 games of the series at 3 p.m. Saturday and 1 p.m. Sunday. Nicki Collen will throw out Saturday's first pitch. In national news, even after an NCAA tournament berth, the Hartford Hawks will move to Division III after a vote by the university's Board of Regents. The school will transition in 2025. And Texas linebacker Jake Ellinger, brother of newly drafted Colt Sam Ellinger, was found dead yesterday off campus in Austin. According to police, there was no suspicious evidence involved. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots. No, go find your own. Come on, give me some of your tots.
No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Paulie, don't be jealous, but I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
Our YouTube numbers are plummeting.
Welcome back to Up Tempo today. I want to... Andrew always drops the music like immediately. I just love when it just plays. Look at my shorts today.
He says, look at my shorts today. He's really trying to show off his thighs. The shorts are just an excuse.
I know. They're like a horse. It's just like, I can run for miles. Did you know that?
You can run for miles?
Miles.
I can run for miles.
Shut up.
Like 3 of them, but still.
You can run for 3? That's a 5K.
Yep.
That's 5 kilometers.
You can't?
Yeah, I could probably run 3 miles.
You could probably run a 5K.
I could run a 5K.
You're in better shape than me, I'm just going to guess.
Really?
I would think so.
Makes you say that?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm not in very good shape.
I'm a college guy. Play college sports with people.
Yeah, you seem like an athletic guy.
Basketball stuff. Yeah, I shoot threes. I led my intramural team in threes this season.
All right. Calm down.
I played high school baseball for a little bit.
Calm down. Okay, you went to Valonia.
Valonia.
So you went. So you probably played every sport.
I found out yesterday. There was a tweet.
That's my point.
I read a tweet yesterday. So I'm from Valonia, Arkansas. This is the hometown. I'm like one of the few people that's from there, by the way. I read a tweet yesterday, and it is a picture of this old couple. I'm sorry, old is harsh. It says, Arkansas couple celebrates 80th wedding anniversary. Leroy Evat, 103, has been married to 101-year-old Uvi Evat for 8 decades.
That's life goals.
Can I say old?
Yeah, how are you not old if you're 80th wedding anniversary? Of course you're old.
Yeah, of course you can say old. They're 103 and 101.
They're old.
You can say old if they're 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they grew up in Valonia, Arkansas. So
I think that's goals right there.
Top 5 things that happened this week. Not included on the list, but an honorable mention is a discussion about Lanier softball. Whoever thought we'd talk about Lanier softball and Park Crossing, the Thunderbirds?
Me. I thought we would.
You ready for that? Crazy walk-off, though. They walked it. I want to know how they walked it off in that one, because that's pretty sweet stuff.
Probably an error.
Probably an error.
Or a walk home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, bases loaded walk. That would have sucked. Wow. That would have to end your 5-hour game. God, the pitcher didn't even leave the game. Top 5 things that happened this week today, this week. Nicki Collen was hired at Baylor. And we announced it on this show. I don't think we broke it.
We didn't break it.
It was about, I don't know, probably all of 11 to 7. It was 17 hours after it happened. We talked about it. So we didn't break it, but we essentially... We broke it to ourselves, right? You know, like we, for the viewers, for the first time that we had broken to on this show that she was the basketball coach. It was the number. Did we decide? Let's go 4, and then we may do an audible. This could be the 3rd or 4th top moment of the week this week. We haven't figured that one out yet.
Nope.
This is where we announced Nicki Collen as a new head coach at Baylor. I have declared I am staying in Waco this summer.
Hey,
I'm going to be in Waco through 2022, 2023. Hell, I might be in Waco through 2024. What say you?
Get a doctorate, get a PhD, settle down, get some roots down here. You send your kids to China Spring.
You figure you're gonna stay in Waco, right?
I'm staying in Waco, bro. I'm not freaking leaving.
Armstrong, I'm going to be in Waco the next 365 days. I'm getting a big old nasty thumbs up from Armstrong Sims. I'll tell you what.
Disgusting thumbs up. 2 of them.
Queen Egbo, Nalissa Smith, and Caitlin Bickle will all also be staying in Waco the next 365 days alongside their new head coach, Nicki Collen, at the helm of Baylor women's basketball going into next season. They made a hire. They did the thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got her.
We got her.
I thought we had it all together. Y'all seen that?
So hard to find.
How about it, though, huh?
Nicki Collen, the new head coach of Baylor University.
It dropped.
We talked about it. So I went back and watched yesterday's show because we had our 5 candidates that we were really honing in on, and Nicki Collen was one of them. She was on that list of 5. She wasn't the best odds that we predicted yesterday, but also she was on the near the top of that list. We had the conversation, and yesterday we mentioned how Nicki Collen, off the bat, is a hire that jumps out because she's moving from pro ball. She is a pro. She is a pro that is now taking it to the collegiate game again as the head coach of Baylor.
Dude, I am eating my words today because you came on here and said Nicki Collen's in the conversation. I said, Nicki who? One, I've never heard of her. I don't think she was at most of the discussions on the forefront of the forum. How's that for alliteration? The forefront of the forum. But dude, I am very surprised that with Nicki Collen. I mean, in typical Mac Rhodes fashion, hired somebody that was sort of off the radar, wasn't really in the discussion that much, unless you're watching Up Tempo. But I mean, you scour the internet for names that are potential hires. Nicki Collen wasn't really on a lot of lists, so I am shocked, surprised, and it just confirms that Mac Rhodes knows a lot more than me about women's college basketball.
As of 15 minutes ago, Nicki Collen and her family arrived in Waco, Texas. You can see her getting off the plane with her husband. Mac Rhodes is also there with them. Mac Rhodes is not her husband. The way that I said that could have been kind of confusing. But they are in Waco. Introductory press conference from Nicki Collen will take place tomorrow at 2:30 in the Farrell Center. And to my understanding, will be open to some of the general public. We've got a couple of these calls we're going to get to here in a second. We're going to give some of our opening opinions on Nicki Collen and the hire. 2018 WNBA Coach of the Year. She took over a program that went 12-22. In her first season, she was WNBA Coach of the Year, which is huge. Huge. Takes her team all the way to the semifinals. She coached Kalani Brown, Odyssey Sims. We'll talk to them in the next couple of days. But she's got the pedigree. Now she brings it to Baylor. She's been in the collegiate game at schools like Florida Gulf Coast, Arkansas, Colorado State. Nicki Collen has the resume to have success at Baylor.
I'm not going to lie to you. I had to do a lot of homework on Nicki Collen because when this hire was made, I knew next to nothing about Nicki Collen. And upon further review, I am a little bit surprised. I'm continually surprised about Nicki Collen being the hire for Baylor for a couple of reasons. Like I said, I have unwavering faith in Mac Rhodes. He has made A+ hires across the board. That includes David Randall. I think he'll be great in these next 2 seasons, but that's not the point. Nicki Collen has never been a collegiate head coach. She's been an assistant at a myriad of places, but never a head coach at the college level. Baylor will be a bigger stage for her than the Atlanta Dream was. The Atlanta Dream had like 4,000 people at games pre-COVID. Like, this will be a bigger deal. This will be the biggest stage she's ever been on from a coaching perspective. I think there will be a learning curve there, but we won't really have to put too much pressure on her until year 2 or 3. She's going to have a bunch of stable of horses for her for this first year, and she has to make sure this thing stays the right direction. But I'm shocked, I'm excited, and I think there is a lot of potential, and I think it's also in a lot of ways a lot of risk because she's never been a head coach before.
Potential. We've got
college, that is, in college.
You got Steve Rodriguez, who just put out a picture of Nicki Collen. Her picture is now on the Baylor ballpark video board. All of Waco is excited today to welcome Nicki Collen home to Baylor. She's now a part of the Baylor family. We're breaking it down. I think you're right. I think that part of this hire is the fact that she has not been a head coach in the women's game yet, and so there are still questions. This isn't someone who's necessarily established in the collegiate game. You hire Muffet McGraw, you know what you're getting. You've seen her be a head coach in the college game, but you haven't yet with Nicki Collen seen what she can do as a collegiate head coach, but she's got WNBA experience. You can tell in the years that she spent in college that she wants to be a college coach. That's where her niche is. She was a great recruiter. She was at Louisville. She was at Arkansas, Florida Gulf Coast, had a historic season at Florida Gulf Coast as well. She's got the pedigree to coach in the collegiate game, and this is a hire that this doesn't come necessarily out of nowhere. Right. Yes, it's a little bit out of left field, but she was on a lot of top 5 lists. It's not like we haven't heard of Nicki Collen. This didn't come from, Northwestern Grandview State, where their third assistant off the bench has been hired at Baylor, and they come in and win a national championship. Nicki Collen's going to have success next season with a senior core returning, with a great transfer from Alabama that will likely stay in Waco, Jordan Lewis. And I have full confidence that Nicki Collen will have a successful career the next couple of years at Baylor. But what does that look like? What does she have to do? What are those boxes that Nicki Collen has to check and check now?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. The expectation is you have to have a good, there is no lead-in time for Nicki Collen. There is no period of grace for her if they don't perform next season. Like, Baylor should win the Big 12 next year, the year after, and the year after that. Baylor should be in the Sweet 16 Elite 8 conversation every single year. She has the firepower, she has the brand, she has the resources to be able to do that. So for Coach Collen, it's going to be a lot of pressure right off the bat. So I don't know that you give her a lot of grace. I think in terms of success, I want to see Elite 8 definitely in year 3. Like year 3 needs to be Elite 8, maybe Final 4. Otherwise, we have to reevaluate some of these approaches we're having from the women's basketball arena.
I do think it's that from JD and I earlier this week, breaking the news, kind of breaking 17 hours after it broke, that Nicki Collen will be the head coach of Baylor. That was number 4 thing that happened. Number 3 thing that happened is we talked to an elite SEC coach that beat Kim Mulkey and beat Gino Auriemma this last season. That is Mike Neighbors. Came on the show and joined us this week to talk about what we're getting, what Baylor's getting in Nicki Collen.
National Concert Day, all kinds of new stuff going on. New coach at Baylor, all kinds of big stuff.
Whoa, you're telling me that Baylor got a new women's basketball coach. You got to enlighten me a bit on that one.
I'm sure you guys have been all over the top of that, but I just read it on Twitter, so it must be true.
It's got to be true. And, Coach, I sent you a message over the weekend and said, hey, we're hearing these murmurs about Nicki Collen. This was probably on Sunday, and you've got a lot of perspective. Obviously, her husband was the head coach at Arkansas for years prior to Dykes, and you're an Arkansas guy. You followed them for so long. This is not a name that you're unfamiliar with.
Oh, no, Nicki from even, back in her playing days. Remember how scrappy she was as a player, and then when she came here with Tom, I was actually on the same staff with him for about 2 weeks before I went to Xavier and started coaching up there. But, know the family well, know Tom, know Nicki, and you guys y'all are adding a great piece to your university.
Coach, when it comes to what Nicki Collen brings to the table, there are a lot of fans out there. The casual fan may not have heard of her, and we asked a guest earlier to give us just an overall overview perspective of what she brings to the table. So when you hear the name, Coach Nicki Collen, what do you think?
Just the number of places she's been experienced in as a player, as a coach, at the level she's been at. She played at one level. She's coached at the pro level. She's been at every single level of basketball. So been around the game, been around a lot of great players, been in the proximity, and everybody's like, she hadn't called a timeout. It doesn't take you very long to figure out when you need to call a timeout. So that's way overrated when it comes to that. She's been in a lot of big games around a lot of success, and you're gonna see that really quickly from the first time you meet her.
Coach, when it comes to recruiting, we had a guest earlier, too, that talked about international recruiting that Collen is familiar with, but that has been the big question. Moving from the WNBA, where it's drafting and free agency, to the collegiate game, where you've got to go out, hit the ground running, and find players through pipelines to come to your school. What is her experience? I mean, is this somebody that Baylor's getting that is raw when it comes to the recruiting game?
Nah, not at all. No, she's been in the stands. She knows how to evaluate, and recruiting is just all about building relationships. And you don't have to have had those relationships prior to getting the job. When she walks in with Baylor on her chest and that green and gold, and they'll be prominently displayed, she's going to have immediate credibility. She can connect to a variety of players, whether that's international or in the state of Texas, right around your area. She's got an ability to be magnetic to whoever that she's zeroed in on, and got a good eye for basketball. She's seen it. She knows what it takes to get to all those different levels. So just because maybe she hasn't been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, I guarantee you she hadn't forgot what it looks like.
Coach, for a coach that comes from Purdue, Marquette, Ball State, Colorado State, Louisville, Arkansas herself, Florida Gulf Coast, Connecticut, Atlanta, I don't see Texas anywhere in that list. How tough is it going to be for her to build that Texas pipeline while here at Baylor?
Well, I mean, it's, you've got your work cut out for you now with all the other schools that try to come into the state to recruit. I mean, Texas is known as a hotbed, so every program in the South and really the good ones across the country, even the top programs in the country will come in there trying to, recruit the talent. But she's got her work cut out for her. There's no question. You got Vic Schaefer over at Texas. You got Coach Blair still doing his thing at A&M, and Houston's rolling. Coach Huey's doing a good job down the road at Houston, and Rice has got a great program. You got Stephen. There's just so many good college basketball programs in the state. You've got to come in there and develop your own identity, and I think that's what everybody's going to be anxious to see is what type of identity will they build there.
And, Fayetteville and Coach Mike Neighbors are not too far away from Waco, too. Those territories cross paths here, there every now and then, Coach. I know that as well. With this hire, the question's been brought up. There is a vast difference in being a head coach in the WNBA and being a head coach in collegiate basketball, and that's just anything when it comes to college based on college to pro. When it comes to the fact that Nicki Collen has yet to be a head coach in the collegiate game, does that give you any reservations about this hire?
Nah, not at all. Like I said, you learn when to stand up and sit down. I've been an assistant coach for 14 years, and everybody said the same things. Never called a timeout. You figure that out pretty quick, and if you don't, just listen to your fans. They'll tell you, maybe you have to listen to them for the first year or so till you figure it out. But, no, she's the WNBA is a microcosm of what we do at the college level. There's some small changes, but again, you're talking about somebody that's around the game 24/7 and talks the game and knows the game. So there's not going to be a learning curve in there. And I still have to ask our scores table sometimes whether we got a media timeout coming. I've been doing this for 21 years, so the people can relax. They've got somebody. Mac Rhodes has been around. He's been around a lot of women's programs. He knows what he's looking for, and he's not going to bring somebody in that's going to have any type of a learning curve. Nicki Collen will be ready from the day y'all have that press conference till they tip it off. You can rest assured you're going to have a proven, ready to go coach.
Coach, along with that, I know you and I had conversation about Molly Miller being in that mix. Joni Taylor at Georgia, she's very happy at Georgia, just that new contract extension to Dia Barnes, who you know well. When it comes to that list of coaches that were in there, I know specifically Molly Miller was that big one who doesn't have experience at the Division I level. When you compare what it would have been like bringing in someone that doesn't have that experience to someone like Nicki Collen with a decade of experience, is that going to benefit Baylor in the long run, the fact that they went with someone who has that pedigree?
Well, I think since you're talking about not very many jobs open up that the program's in good shape. Okay. Jobs usually open for the different reason. They open because the program's at the bottom. You're you're talking about a team that's 1 year removed from the national championship. You got a team that's got the returning Wade Trophy winners. So I think what you're going to get is you're going to get a faster learning curve. There's not going to be any of that to that. Molly Miller's going to be an icon in our game for a long time. I mean, she's got a long career ahead of her. But with Nicki, I think you can expect things to happen faster. You're going to hear that. You know, I'm sure in her press conference, there's not going to be this plan for the future unveiled. It's going to be plan for what happens this year.
That from Mike Neighbors earlier this week, the number 3 thing that happened on the show. Number 2, we spoke with Doug Feinberg talking about Nicki Collen and the hire and what it means for Baylor University and Baylor women's basketball. And then expectations moving forward. The roster coming back next season is loaded, and she's got a shot. She's been tossed the keys to a Porsche. How will she drive it? Doug Feinberg talked about it in the number 2 thing on Uptempo this week. And Jack McKenzie, just joined by Coach Carl Smesko from Florida Gulf Coast. He was Nicki Collen's boss for 2 years, hired her onto his staff and said that, well, Baylor got a great one. That's a perspective of a coach that's worked right alongside her, but how about a perspective of someone who really follows the entire realm of women's college basketball? And that's I almost called him Coach Doug Feinberg. Basically, you might as well just have the title at this point. Doug Feinberg joining the show again today. Thanks for coming on with us as always.
It's always my pleasure, and you're not wrong calling me coach. I have coached high school sports for 27 years, so you just knew a fact about me you didn't know. All the Godfather stuff from months past. I am and have been a coach. I'm proud of it, and I'm happy. And you can call me coach if you want, Doug, whatever works for you.
Wow, Coach Feinberg. That's a real thing from your past, Coach Feinberg.
And present, yeah. Past, present, and future, or immediate future at least. So.
Wow, and present. I didn't know. Okay, fill us in before we get into the Nicki Collen news. Let's just have a little chat here.
Sure. I've coached girls basketball for about 20 years. I've coached track and field and cross country. And I'll tell you, and I don't want to talk too much coaching, but one of the nicest things, we started our season in April after the kids came back from spring break. It's the first normalcy we've had in sports in New York for the high schools for us since last March. And just the feeling was so great. And I'm sure, I've talked to coaches obviously in college and the WNBA, just having them around and having some normalcy right now. We're going the right direction, obviously, but for the kids, it meant so much to just be at practice and have the whole team there. That's just, to me, it made me feel good inside to have some normalcy that way. So,
wow. Bring it on. A little bit of some emotions coming in the first, opening up with Doug Feinberg. You talk about, man, that good feeling inside. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of Baylor Nation that missed that when Molly Miller's name wasn't announced as Baylor's head coach. That's been all the talk, oddly enough, that, man, did Baylor get it right with a name that a lot of people hadn't heard of? But I'll tell you this, when Matt Rule was hired as Baylor's head football coach, who took Baylor all the way to the Sugar Bowl, the same things were mentioned. But now with Nicki Collen, for someone like you that does know that name, give us perspective. Is this the right hire, a great hire for Baylor to make?
Drake, I said that on social media the other day when it was announced. I said that's a great hire for Baylor. I know we chatted probably, 7 days ago? I think it was literally a week ago when I was walking Central Park. And I said, this is going to be a big spot for them who they hire. This is going to be, they still care about women's basketball if they hire the right person, or if they hire an assistant who hasn't gotten much experience at all, that says something different. And I did not know Nicki was going to get the job. I think that's a great hire. It's someone with experience at WNBA level as a head coach, but obviously, as you talked with your previous guest about, was an assistant in college, so knows the college game, and just brings credibility right away. Yes, she's not been a college head coach, but she knows X's and O's. She's a very big player relation person, and that she'll relate well to the players of Baylor. She'll relate well to recruits. That's what players have told me about her from her time in Atlanta, when she was in Connecticut as an assistant coach for the WNBA team, and I think going back to her time as a college assistant.
Doug, you mentioned the fact that she's not been a head coach at the collegiate level, and that's a conversation we've had on this show, and that's gone across a lot of the forums locally, and we compared it to, you got a Porsche. Baylor women's basketball is the Porsche. While you haven't driven the Porsche, you've been in the passenger seat. You've seen it driven before. You're familiar with how it's driven, but now you got to get in front of it and drive it. What gives you confidence that an assistant, someone that hasn't been in that position, can drive it and drive it well starting next season?
Well, again, I think as an assistant, you sort of dabble in a lot of different cars, so to speak. You're not going to be the one in charge of driving the car, but you got to make sure that car is souped up as possible to run the best it can. She got to drive the car for the Atlanta Dream as the head coach. So she has driven, using this analogy a little bit further, at that level, but also understands how the car works, what you need to do to make the car be as it can go. And she inherits a pretty good team. So she's not in rebuild mode. So that I think is important for her to do as far as have that experience as a head coach, but also have been in the college ranks. If she just was a WNBA coach, had no college experience whatsoever, I'd be very much more concerned, but she has been a college coach and has a pretty good course waiting for her right now in Waco, Texas.
Doug, you talk about it. She's got the Porsche waiting, and part of that for everyone here in Baylor is the expectation that comes year one. Nalissa Smith, Queen Egbo, Caitlin Bickle, Jordan Lewis from Alabama. The nucleus is still there to have a Sweet 16, Elite 8, or further team in year one for Nicki Collen. She's walking into that pressure. What does it say about her to take that head on?
I mean, she always has. Like, she inherited a pretty good team in Atlanta when she took over as a head coach there. And I think they went 23-11 her first year, which is pretty good. Lost to the Eastern Conference semis, maybe. But she knows what she's doing. She'll be fine. She's fiery. I mean, she's not Mulkey. There's no question about that. Their fashion game would probably be competitive because Nicki is a solid dresser as well. And their shoe game is pretty solid, I know, for Nicki. But I think that she'll be fine. I mean, she'll walk in. I don't know what their schedule is, but that Big 12 is not that strong in the year ahead. I mean, Texas lost a lot with graduation and transfer. And then after that, other new coaches, Oklahoma's got a new coach in there, and West Virginia's lost obviously some pretty good players. So we'll see. I think she's entering a pretty good spot that Baylor will stay near the top, if not the top of that conference, and be competitive in the national scene.
Doug, along with that the number one thing, though. Personal friend, former coach herself, and someone that knows Nicki Collen well, Rachel Galligan, joined the show as the first guest that we had after the announcement that Nicki Collen would be the head coach, and offered insight from a personal and professional standpoint. The number one clip that we had this week from guests talking Nicki Collen was this from Rachel Galligan.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia! Jesus died!
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday, everybody. May the 4th be with you. Nicki Collen, the head coach of the Baylor women's basketball program, coming from the Atlanta Dream, the 2018 WNBA Coach of the Year, and now she's in Waco. Her and her family just landing today. Opening press conference tomorrow, coming at 2:30 in the Farrell Center. And we're now joined by WNBA insider Rachel Galligan, former coach too, to talk about Nicki Collen and what she brings to the table. Rachel, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
I am so happy to be here. So excited for Nicki. I've known her for a long time, going back to my coaching days. So just a really exciting time. I can't imagine the energy on campus right now.
Rachel, I want to start right here. And it's very, very broad. There's so many ways you could answer this. And I just want something that everybody can really grab onto if they haven't heard of Nicki Collen. And that is, who is Nicki Collen? What is Baylor getting in their new women's basketball coach?
I met Nicki when I was a very young assistant, and she obviously was a little bit older, had a little bit more experience. And the thing I loved about her right from the get was she had no ego. I realized right away that she was about people. She was about helping the next generation, of whether that's players, whether that is young coaches. And she really kind of took me under her wing in some ways. And I really kind of got to learn the ropes from her domestically recruiting, but also internationally recruiting. We spent a lot of time overseas watching international ball. And then through the years, just kind of maintained that friendship. And I was able to follow her career from her time at Louisville over to Arkansas. Then she was finally at Florida Gulf Coast. So she has coached at a very high level as an assistant, and I think she has really been an integral part of the success of those teams because of her heart for the players and the staff around her. And then when she was able to get on with the Connecticut Sun, her and Kurt Miller, those are two coaches that I admire greatly and learned a lot from myself. It was a no-brainer that from there she would quickly be a head coach with the Atlanta Dream. No one was, I was not taken back by that hire. I felt like it was just a matter of time. She is a natural born leader, and she has a way, an innate ability to connect with the players that I think is extremely unique, especially in this day and age of recruiting and just this generation of players. She has an ability to get the best out of you and find that best out of you where maybe, it hasn't been pulled out of you in a different way. And I think that really showed, especially that first year with Atlanta when she was took that team really to the top of the standings and was named Coach of the Year. And you guys are getting a phenomenal person. She has a phenomenal heart. She's a mother. I mean, everything about her life just screams teacher, screams that she does not have an ego. This is not about her. This is about leadership. And I really think she's a natural born leader.
Rachel, we've heard Nicki reference herself as a player's coach, and that can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different arenas for a lot of different coaches. When it comes to Nicki Collen saying, I'm a player's coach, give us some insight on what she means in that.
I don't want to speak for Nicki, but from my understanding of that and observing her through all this time, a lot of coaches go into the mentality of this is my system, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to find the right people to fit what I want to do. Whereas Nicki can take a player and she can get to know that player. I think she is filled with empathy. I think she is filled with an ability to put herself in someone else's shoes and really relate to that player in different ways. And I think that's a hard trait to find, being able to coach a player differently. One player is not coached the same as another player is coached. She really can get in there and she can pretty much, in my opinion, pull the best out of you in a way that maybe not a majority of coaches would be able to do. So I think when you talk about a player's coach, she can get you to believe things that you didn't even realize you could do. She can pull out the best of you. She can push that right button, and know the button's not to push, in terms of not even just your success on the court, but your success as an individual, growing you as an individual. That's how I take it.
Again, for those just joining us, Rachel Galligan with us today talking Nicki Collen and the hire at Baylor University. Rachel, you mentioned recruiting on an international scale. That's the question when you get a pro coach. Knowing that she spent well over a decade in the college game, you still get hey, she's a pro. She's a professionals coach. How is she going to be able to recruit when it comes to collegiate athletes? Give us insight there. Is this a coach with recruiting experience, and at what level?
I think Nicki is one of the best recruiters in the country. And I would say that right now with extreme confidence, just because of who she is and what she's been able to do as an assistant at a really high level. I think her experience in the WNBA only probably refined that, and being able to relate and understand top tier level players who have now taken that next step in their journey. And, whether that would be domestically or internationally, we all know she doesn't have to go very far. Texas is absolutely loaded with talent, but obviously having a nationwide reach that Baylor is going to have, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I really think she relates to people. People are naturally drawn to Nicki. And on an international scale, that's what I'm really fascinated to see. What is that going to look like? Is that something she continues to build her staff around and maybe recruits to on a high level, looking for that high level international talent? I think it would be a mistake if she didn't at least take it into consideration, given just her experience, the last 4 years in the WNBA and understanding international scale. But she has done this at every possible level, and she understands recruiting, in my opinion, as well, if not one of the top recruiters in the country. And I really feel that.
Rachel, this question was celebrity birthdays. Those are the top 5 things that happened this week on the show Up Tempo. And now we roll on into celebrity birthdays. Today, Armstrong and Andrew playing.
Oh, my gosh.
Number 1, Mr. Beast is having a big birthday. It's a big day for birthdays, by the way. A lot of guys are having birthdays. I don't know who Mr. Beast is, but he's having a birthday.
He's a YouTube guy.
Okay.
26.
24.
He's 23 years old today for Mr. Birthday. We cue the music as well, if you will, please.
There's no music.
Not an option.
There is not music today. Tommy Fury, the boxer. It's his birthday.
Tommy Fury.
Tommy.
I don't know.
Not Tommy Duff. He's just Tommy Fury. He is 22 years old today. Tommy Fury is 22 years old. Patricio Fernandez, the TikTok star.
20.
Come on, guys.
I've never even heard of this guy.
Yeah.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah? Well, he's 18.
Okay, I was gonna say like 15.
You can't be a TikTok star.
Michael Rosen, who's a children's author. You know, you'd have to like see him, but he's you know who he is. I will say,
no, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, no, you know who. If you saw him, you know who he is. Michael Rosen.
No, we don't.
There's no one's birthdays today. No one's birthday is today. Alex Smith, former football player, I should say. Alex Smith. He is having a birthday today, on this day.
33.
Okay, 33.
36.
40.
37. 37.
I feel very bad giving it to you. I feel very bad. I will give you 37, but I don't think I should.
How do you know that?
This guy's. Oh wow.
Why would I know this?
Michael
Rosen.
He's
guy.
a meme or whatever.
Yeah, he's a meme. He's like a Twitter thing. This guy, Owen Hart, the wrestler.
Pass. Well, 60.
He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. So there's your first clue.
90.
56. What? You can be dead and be younger than 100 or 90. Thank you, though.
I don't lead with that.
YouTube star David Cooper would have been. Oh, that's really sad. He was born in 2003 and passed away in 2013. That gives it away.
Wow, you gave us 18.
He would have been legal today. He would have been legal.
Wow.
Wiz Luther King Jr., Instagram star. That one's new to me.
I'm not even pretending to know who that is. 20.
Nope, 34. And then last one we'll get to today, Earl Thomas has a birthday today. Earl Thomas is how old?
Earl Thomas is more famous than like the last 7 people
That's
you've read
a great point that you make.
He's older.
31.
Okay.
34.
32. He is 32. Right on in there. This day in sports history. Oh, baby. You remember it, Armstrong. You and I were actually at this one together.
Okay.
The 35th Preakness R.E. Step aboard Leigh-Minster wins in 1 minute and 40 seconds.
1893. I was higher.
1895.
1910. 1910 is when that one happened. Oh, man. In a testament to his pitching ability, in what year? Future Baseball Hall of Fame slugger Babe Ruth leads the Boston Red Sox to a 1-0 victory against the Washington Senators legend Walter Johnson.
Fenway was built
1932.
No.
32?
Dude, what? That's way high.
Wow, no.
1913.
This is the same year that World War I started.
Oh, it's coming in.
1913.
1918 is your baseline for any Babe Ruth Red Sox, because that was the year that the Curse of the Bambino started. So it was before 1918.
I said 1913.
1917.
Right,
1917. And then, Armstrong, we'll really remember this one because it's big. World Snooker Championship. Crucible Theatre, Sheffield. Welshman Mark Williams beats John Higgins of Scotland 18-16. As promised, does his press conference in the nude.
That would be a tough one to forget.
Nope, 2018. Nice try, though. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong, Sims, Andrew Robertson. Come back tomorrow. No. If you come back tomorrow, I won't be here. You're welcome to open up SicEm365's YouTube at 11 o'clock, but there will be no me, Armstrong, or Andrew Robertson. We'll be back on Monday, though. We'll see you then. Big weekend in Baylor tennis, softball, and baseball. Make sure you get out to the ballpark and check it out. This has been Up Tempo.